It takes time to ask questions and understand. Focus Today does just that. We give you an hour so you can understand better. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Yeah. Welcome to the morning show where Jerry still gets a kick.
Oh, I got to tell you, I got a kick. I got to warn you.
What?
I got an extra kick this morning. Yeah, we got the annual Build-In Lip Sync contest coming up. And on the way in, I was working on my song, and it's an upbeat. It really goes. And I'm doing that, and I'm doing the words, and I'm thinking, and I'm realizing, hey, wait a minute, that's not legal to drive this fast. Oh. Wait a minute, slow down. And then by the time I got into work, I thought, let's go.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're boogieing already.
I got a warning. Yeah, I got to give you a warning. So
did you get a warning?
No, I'm giving you the warning. I might have a little bit too much adrenaline flowing for this time of the day.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how many cups of coffee?
Yeah, just three. Just three. You know, I'm on
3 cups and a rock and roll song.
All the way in. And just, repeat it because you got to learn the words. If you're lip syncing, you got to have your lips going the right direction.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, so Lord, he'll check in with you later. He's busy right now.
And by the way, I got a secret weapon and we use them all the time.
What?
Grandkids as background dancers.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they're the backups.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
anyway, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. A lot in the news. There always is. Weather-wise, we actually drop another couple of degrees today here in the backyard, so we kind of welcome that. We'll give you a fire update. There's still a lot going on in that department. So, wow. Anything special?
Well, it is National Middle Child Day.
Ooh, that's me.
Honoring that in-between child in the family. And Pam and I always talk about this because, she's the oldest. She's very red. She's a leader, which is typical. And then we talk about, okay, what qualifies as a middle child? Now, there are 5 kids in my family. I'm second. And I say I'm a middle child. And she says no. And I said, wait a minute. It says here, of course, larger families celebrate more than one middle child.
Yeah, but you're not.
Oh, come on, man.
No.
Okay, now a lot of people, and I'm going to have you weigh in on this, is a lot of people believe that birth order means something. The middle child syndrome describes the firstborn as the leader, the role player. Meanwhile, the youngest earns the title of the baby of the family, oftentimes the comic. Therefore, the middle child's role remains undefined. What does that mean?
Well, you got to get the book from Dr. Kevin Lehman called The Birth Order, and he's upgraded it, and it is spot on. So if you're raising children, one of the books you should read is the Birth Order book, and it's very true. So the middle child is always too old and not old enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are the ones that get the hand-me-downs. Okay, but they're also the most peacemakers.
Okay.
They're very compliant.
All right.
They're the peacemakers because they're right in the middle, and they have to make peace with the older and have peace with the younger.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And so if you're married to a first and you are a second, you probably have a little middle in you. Okay. But at the end of the day, you're closer to the first than you are the third.
Hey.
And
I'm married to a first, and I'm just trying to get by.
Well, see, that's firsts are born with a briefcase and a frown.
Not you, honey. No.
They come out, and it's kind of like, I'm going to work and don't get in my way, okay? And they're heavily opinionated. They're strong-willed. They're all this stuff, okay? Okay. They are judge, jury, and the jail. And so, it's just the way it is. Sorry, Pam.
Hey.
You know what? She's saying, deep on inside, she's saying, amen.
Amen.
Amen. So, but Peggy and I are both middles.
Okay. Okay.
So if a first marries a baby.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, look out. I have that. I have a child who's a baby and married a first. It's an interesting mix.
Yeah. So it's that probably will need counseling.
Yeah, I love them. Okay, so moving on.
Well, you know what's interesting about the first marrying of a baby?
Yeah.
Okay, is they have a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And it's payback.
It is payback.
Yeah.
Oh, you are so right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So when one of the greatest things about being a grandparent is when your grandkids fall on the floor in complete defiant of their parents.
Oh, yes.
You want to get down there and cheer them on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, one of the downfalls of being a grandparent is, you know, I've hardly learned how to say no to them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, you're not supposed to.
And
You're
I
supposed
don't
to just give them a sugar.
Right, but I got to tell you, I had a little level of frustration yesterday. I decided, you know, I haven't been able to work out, do anything for a couple months. You know, I'm turning into a puddle of mud. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to get back. I'm getting on the rowing machine today. I can do the rowing machine. Come on. So I got in there. I got into the room with the rowing machine, which has a TV on the wall so we can work out and, you know, and have some entertainment. But it's one of the guest bedrooms, and the grandbabies love to go in there. They turn on. That's their room. You know, they got the TV, and and I get on the rowing machine, and the straps on the feet.
Yeah.
They've been playing with them, and they're so messed up, I can't get them to strap onto my feet. I spent 20 minutes trying to fix that thing. I could never. They're still exactly the same way that they were.
Well, you know, you'll get over that because the grandkids, they rule. But I don't know if so. And you have you have an older brother than you, and then what's behind you?
And then I have a sister, a brother, and a sister.
Oh yeah. See, you're more. Yeah, you're by far more one than you are three. No question about it.
Now you are just kind of confirming what Pam throws at me all the time. What are you doing that for, man?
Well, I'm just helping you out, Pam.
I'm trying to be in the middle.
No, it's not in you.
Oh, golly.
No, you know why?
Why?
Because you put jalapeno on your cereal.
Oh, we got this all figured out now. First thing in the morning.
There we go. What else we got going on?
National Vinyl Record Day.
Oh, really?
Whether it's the Beatles, Elvis Presley, Amy Grant, the Monkees, Johnny Cash, Bee Gees, or even the Gaithers.
Oh.
Vinyl records have a sound all of their own.
Yeah, they do.
And most will agree vintage vinyl is as classic as the bands themselves. So there is a different sound on vinyl.
Yes, there is.
And it's, it's got its own popularity even these days. And,
Those of us who've been in radio long enough where we used to backtrack a record. Yep.
Yes. And I never was around for those days. I've heard about it.
Oh.
Not sure how it works. All I know is that, I don't know if anybody does that.
Well, that turned
anymore.
into rock and roll, but
or
you used to backtrack a record. And it had a lot to do with the turntable. So you had to learn, and brands of turntables come out. So the big thing was they had new needles and turntables that instantly started.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the old ones used to kind of gain in speed. So you had to twist the turntable back.
Okay.
So by the time it got to the actual music, it was playing.
All right.
Okay.
Well, if you've got vinyl, play it. I got a whole bunch of vinyl up in the attic.
I have a bunch in storage.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it might be worth something.
Yeah.
Okay. And also,
I have some Amy Grant originals.
really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that.
And a lot of Southern Gospel originals.
All right. Oh, I don't like Amy. And and a lot of that Southern Gospel stuff is really good.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. One thing to eat. National Julienne Fries Day.
Oh.
Yeah. Each year on National Julienne Fries Day, everyone fries up skinny sliced potatoes for a delicious and crunchy treat. Once you've sliced your potatoes into matchsticks, which can be achieved with a tool with a julienne blade, let the potatoes rest in a bowl of ice water for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, pat the potatoes dry with paper towels. You'll want to dry them really good because when you drop them in hot oil, you don't want them to splatter. And when you add the potatoes to the hot grease, don't add too many at a time. They need room to fry on all sides. This tip also prevents your oil from excess splatter and overflowing. And they look good, they're crunchy, and I can't say I've ever made them.
Oh.
Yeah. But I do,
I like them.
Do you do fries at home?
No.
Yeah.
Well, not in a deep fryer, no.
Yeah. You know how we do fries? We don't do a lot of fries, but when we do them, we get the Red Robin bag fries.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're good and they're consistent and they're easy. So that's about all I can do.
All right, good stuff. Let's check out the weather on this Wednesday morning.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville with highs from the upper 70s to near 81. McMinnville stays mostly sunny at 80. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny with highs from 80 to 82. Salem and Albany reach 81. Corvallis 80 and Eugene 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke in Prineville and Bend with highs of 85 and 83. Sun River stays sunny at 83. Boise is sunny, then patchy smoke with a high near 94 and a low near 63. Along the Oregon coast, gradual clearing in Goose Bay with a high near 68. Port Orford has decreasing clouds at 66. Brookings is sunny and windy at 66, while Crescent City is mostly sunny and breezy at 67. In southern Oregon, sunny skies cover Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with highs of 87, 90, and 86. Klamath Falls sees areas of smoke, then sunny conditions with a high near 87. In northern California, Wairika stays sunny with a high near 91. Redding will be hot at 98. While Chico's mostly sunny at 95. Fort Bragg has patchy fog, then sunny skies with a high near 62. In the Bay Area, fog, then partly sunny conditions in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 79 and 76. San Francisco has a slight chance of drizzle, then partly sunny skies and a high near 71. San Jose sees patchy smoke, then mostly sunny conditions reaching 81. For Central California, mostly sunny in Sacramento with a high near 90, then partly sunny in Stockton, Modesto at 91. Fresno, Visalia see patchy smoke with a high near 98, while Bakersfield is hot at 100. And that's a look at your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Okay, there's a first shot this morning off the top of Roxanne. That's looking almost to the south-southwest, and you can see a little bit of haze in the air, but still a nice day. But also look how brown it is, so be careful. For our friends down in, let's see, now I don't know if you're used to this, but I remember looking at these days. But this is the Oakland Bay Bridge to San Francisco early in the morning, and there it is.
There you go.
There's the morning commute. That's live this morning.
It's moving.
It's moving.
Yeah.
And that's coming into the city. You know, us traffic guys, there was about 4 of us that would get together. I was the one in the Central Valley, Sacramento. There was one in the Bay Area. And there was one down in 2 in L.A. And we would meet twice a year at the Nut Tree and have lunch together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
But the guy, Warren Bogus, was the guy that did the San Francisco one. And he was out at Concord. And so he'd fly over all this. Now it's all done with cameras like that right there. There's
Yeah, so I got a question for you. Did you have certain terms for a certain rate of flow for traffic, like something like this? What would you call this?
Well, this would be, you know, a slow commute.
Slow commute.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and so in those days, you'd always look out for the middle lane guys were the dangerous ones.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The far right guys, you know, they're probably looking for an exit.
Oh, well, that's true.
Oh, and the far left guys, they're just crazy.
How about lane jumpers, though? I mean, because
well, that's the middle guy.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are going to pop here. This seems to be going faster here. And have you noticed if you tend to stay in one lane and the lane jumpers, you usually stay pretty much at the same pace as them.
But when you're crowded like that, there's not much you can do. You just buckle in.
Yeah.
Now, this is a very familiar slide. There it is. That's off the top of the 2,000-foot Oak Grove broadcast tower.
Nice.
And that's looking, earlier this morning, you could actually have seen the lights of Sacramento off to the northeast of that, up kind of like in the right-hand corner of that shot. So that's a little bit down in the valley. That's over what they call the Delta area and all those Delta canals. And so
nice. And by the way, it's good fishing in the Delta.
it is. It depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
You can get bass.
Yeah, striped bass.
And striped bass
Yeah,
will
baby.
come in.
Oh,
Some of the best striped bass fishing literally is under the runway lights at San Francisco Airport.
No kidding.
And you can fish there. At least you used to be able to.
Really?
So I knew guys that would fish, and where the landing lights came on out into the bay.
Yeah.
You know how they go out there?
Yeah.
Well, the striped bass would hang out right there.
Yeah,
you know?
they got good cover. Yeah.
And those guys would go down there
Structure.
and fish for that stuff. But anyway, the Delta area is
Probably somebody that's fishing them right now.
Could be.
Have fun. And the other guys are in that traffic lane going across the Bay Bridge, which sometimes creates some emotions.
Yeah.
Sometimes anger. You know, it comes up during the commute.
But you know what's interesting?
What?
This is when I flew,
Okay.
and when there were traffic pilots, they're not anymore now. Well, so the television station has helicopters out there, but us plain guys, we're out of a job. But this was before cell phones.
Oh, okay.
Can you imagine it now with cell phones? People going that slow and trying to work a cell phone, and I would imagine their rear enders now must be crazy.
All the time, and the road rage just boils over. And
There you
with
go.
that anger issue in mind, time for some great encouragement this morning with Pastor Jack Graham.
So confront it, confess it, and control it, and conquer it. How? The gospel. The answer for anger is the gospel of Jesus Christ, which is forgiveness. Forgiving undeserving but repentant people. Forgiveness is the key to breaking this chain. When Jesus died on the cross, he spoke with bloody lips these words to the very men who were crucifying, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." And so Ephesians 4:32 says that we are to forgive as Christ has forgiven us. You see that there? Verse 32, Ephesians 4. Be kind, tenderhearted, loving, forgiving as Christ has forgiven you.
Well, that's a constant reminder, the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Yeah. So by the same measure you measure others is the same measure you will be measured with. So think about this. It's not a one-way track, and it's not yours. So you firstborns, get over it.
And us middle child,
you're not a middle. You're not a middle.
Okay then.
All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories for you today. Boy, there's a lot going on. We did fire at a Panamanian flag ship in the Straits yesterday, and apparently a U.S. helicopter fired at the rudder of the Panamanian ship, disabled it to where the crew had to immediately, no reports of casualty, and the ship appeared to at least attempt to transfer to the crew to another civilian vessel afterwards. So apparently it's sitting there immobile. This did escalate a lot of pressure there in Iran and the Straits. Stick around. By the time we get done with this report, there'll be another one.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. Yeah. The other one is last night was yesterday was a primary across a lot of states. But this one is kind of particular. Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah.
She ran for the Democratic nomination for the governor of Minnesota, and she won it last night. And she's still a sitting U.S. senator. And her term isn't up until 31. So how does this work? Okay, if she goes on and becomes the governor, okay, and she leaves her Senate seat and she becomes the governor, she appoints the person to sit in her Senate seat.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised we see this kind of move in Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay, so but now she's going to be up against some people, the Republicans, one of which is Mike Lindell.
Okay.
And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Now, she is saying she wants to fight the fraud in the state.
Really? She's one of the few Dems that wants to, huh?
Well, it's campaign season.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So anyway.
And speaking of which, did you see the Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate, DSA candidate, Francesca Hong?
Yeah.
She was the one that said we should do away with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because it reinforced the colonial problems that we have as a country. And when she was pressed on it, she You know how they like to backtrack.
Right.
She says, no, I've changed my mind. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays.
Well, she is now.
She bit the dust.
By 1 point.
Yeah.
We'll see where this goes. By the other way, the other thing that took place last night was Lindsey Graham's sister did not win 51%.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
She got 31 to 22, I think it was, something like that. So there will be a runoff, okay, for that one. So, but that's on the Republican side. I don't know what's going to happen on the Democratic side. So a lot of mixed results last night.
Yeah.
The Hong one is she didn't win.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a blow to Schumer and others, you know.
Well,
so.
yeah, and also she was not only for defunding the police, she wanted to abolish the police. But she, near the election, she changed her mind on that too.
All right, this next story it came to life a couple of days ago, and it's really, it's just, I don't know. I'm sure you have an opinion on it. But we know now that Dr. Fauci has absolutely lied across the board.
Yeah.
And Senator Marshall is now asking for a special counsel based upon Senator Roger Marshall from, he's a Republican from Kansas, calling for a special counsel to investigate Dr. Fauci. And Dr. Fauci basically said there was no problem for pregnant women, and then they find out that there were texts where there was serious problems for pregnant women.
In the vaccine?
In the vaccine, especially the second jab.
Okay.
And here's a little bit about what he said during that time.
The real only reason the vaccines were approved were that they could prevent serious illness and death in people at high risk for serious illness and death. And that was people over the age of 65, of course, which obviously weren't pregnant women. So I didn't recommend the vaccine for pregnant women. I think it was a mistake. I think WHO obviously showed skepticism about recommending it for pregnant women.
Okay, so the conflict of Dr. Fauci continues to come out. Now, here's an interesting twist to this whole thing. Okay, you talk about legal quagmire. If Senator Marshall is able to provoke the DOJ to a special counsel for investigating Dr. Fauci, they have subpoena power and prosecution power.
Oh.
Is this the loophole to get him?
Maybe.
So we'll see where this goes. But he is calling for, you know, he's calling for a special counsel. Well, there was a story out where the president, when he was in Turkey, they got threat of on his life. And as you know, he went to Turkey when he went over there for the NATO meeting.
An Iranian threat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he goes over in the new Air Force One that was given to him by Qatar.
Yeah, okay.
He gets over there, and the threat comes out, and he's there at NATO.
All right.
They secretly move him
Through a food truck.
through a food truck
Yeah.
to the other standby Air Force One. Okay? And so this is now coming out. And so if you look behind there, you'll see a food truck, and apparently the threat comes on. So they move the president off the new Air Force One in a food truck, you know, one of those goes up and down things.
Yeah.
And they move him over to the other Air Force One to get him out of there. So apparently this is now well known. And here's the president commenting on that.
I think actually the plane that I flew on was at greater risk. I think it was at greater risk because that would be the plane I think that they would be more likely to go for. This one went over to England because the soldiers wanted to see it, and it stopped, and they showed it to the soldiers, and we did a switch over there, and it was really as per the military, and I just have to do what they say. They go for safety, and I have to do what they say.
So,
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting. What's his name? Victor Davis Hanson? He was talking about, you know, we've had threats on presidents before. We've had assassination attempts. But this president is basically under a whole new category, a whole different level of security that's needed for him because of the constant threats on his life and attempts.
Yeah, and attempts.
Yeah.
All right, those are some of the top stories on this Wednesday morning as we're going to take a second-born break.
When darkness veils Finding your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You are not alone.
I felt he was with us in a way that I'd never felt before.
Others have been where you are.
And I came to understand then how important it was for me to complete what God had put me on this planet to do.
Be inspired by these stories and others like them.
Our God, at the immediate cry of our heart, will hear us.
Watch the 700 Club Wednesday morning at 11 on theDove TV. Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America.
That liberty is God-given, not government-granted.
You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs.
You and I cannot afford to be casual about what God has actually said in His Word regarding the future.
Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching.
The Bible warns us to avoid private interpretations.
Jack challenges today's generation to understand and practice the biblical worldview, verse by verse, addressing key cultural and daily life issues. Deepen your walk with Christ to make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
Hey, welcome back. Happy Wednesday to you. A lot going on in the news. Some backyard news. First of all, one of the stories that popped up yesterday, Oregon now has joined 10 other states in suing the Trump administration. By the way, this happens to make the 74th lawsuit against the president.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Oregon joined 10 others. And this is kind of a questionable deal. What it is that the Trump administration ruled against a federal rule changed the federal rule that would allow banks to keep the interest earned on money homeowners put aside in escrow for taxes and insurance. The state law says that the banks have to pay 2.61% on those funds if they're stored in the bank, okay? Right. And the Trump administration ruled against that. I think he's going to lose this one because I don't know where this comes in and I don't know how it benefits. Yeah. But so the Oregon has stepped up along with 10 other states and said, no, you can't do this and we're going to sue you.
How many lawsuits did you say?
Well, this is number 74.
And all the lawyers said amen.
Well, gosh, they're the only ones that go to the bank on Friday.
Exactly. Man.
Okay, a little bit of a wildfire update. We're between 2.2 and 2.3 million acres burning or burnt in the state of Oregon. The biggest fire is the fire over in Klamath Falls. It's 52,500 acres. It's only 5% contained. There's a couple of other fires still going really strong. The Grasshopper Fire, 78,000, only 20%. The Hagen Fire, 51,000 acres, 11%. Those are pretty much in central and northeastern Oregon. But the Wright Fire over there in Klamath Falls, it's the big one at the moment at 52,500 acres, only 5%. A lot of assets are on that fire, a lot of personnel. And then the big one up in Spokane, which has been unbelievable. Isn't that an amazing picture?
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's 122,000 acres in the one north of Spokane, only 5% contained, and that's taken out a lot of structures. So, look, we're still in a very serious condition out there, and this is only the middle of August. So those are the updates. So we'll keep you posted. Be safe and careful.
Wouldn't it be nice if we get some rain?
Well, it kind of is in the forecast late next week.
Yeah, like on Wednesday.
So let's hope that materializes without thunderstorms.
And speaking of which, let's look at the satellite.
Yeah, let's do that. So it's over there somewhere.
There it is.
All right. So,
what do you think?
Well, you can see there is some moisture in the air. because you can see it there through Central California and around. But for the most part, Northern Cal, Washington, and Oregon, severe clear. But a little cooler.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, the name Abdul Sayed is in the news. Is he a viable candidate for that Senate seat in Michigan?
Is he a viable candidate? You know,
he just squeaked by in the primary, and he is volatile. He's got that, you know, Piker, the blogger, behind him, and it's the radical portion of the Democrat Party, and it's causing a divide. Michigan Senate candidate Mike Rogers has sounded the alarm on electing Abdul al-Sayed, and he did this on Newsmax's Saturday Agenda.
He is too extreme and too radical for Michigan. You know, I put the uniform of the United States on as an officer in the United States Army to stand up for our nation when she needed it. I was an FBI agent, kicked in doors, arrested drug dealers and human traffickers. Lo and behold, I'm standing in a race running against someone who believes America deserved 9/11. Somebody that wants to allow criminals and sexual offenders out of prison. This is beyond the pale. And you know we are here in Michigan? We're hardworking, middle-class families. We kiss our kids, we get them on the bus, we go to work, and we build some of the most amazing things in the world. Right here in Michigan, that's all at risk. All of it. Matter of fact, he wants to ban gas engines. I don't know if anyone told him and showed him on a map. We build things in Michigan. A lot of it is about gas engines. It is really shocking to me that the Democrat Socialists of America have pulled this party so far to the left. We have people flying in from New York and California and San Francisco, you know, touting this new Democrat Socialist message. Guess what? I don't believe people are going to look at crazy. They're going to look at common sense. I think they're going to go common sense all day long.
All right, so a couple things on this one. Actually, overall. Unless the part of the Democratic Party that calls themselves the progressive come out with some of their major spokespeople, I would say the Clintons, the Obamas, and others in that recognizable class, and denounce these people. If they don't, then what they're saying is that the progressive, even though they don't want to be identified with them, they support them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not standing up against them. And that is the dangerous part about this. They're all talking about how extreme this DNS or the
DSA
is. Okay. Okay, we all agree with that. They're crazy and they're way out there. But has the Democratic Party, in any attempt to protect itself, done anything to distance themselves from this? And the answer is no.
No, and they're not getting any help from the Alphabet Soup news media because they're really kind of going right down the middle on this thing and not really identifying how radical these people really are.
So it only leaves you with the conclusion, if they won't stand up against it, that ultimately it's part of their own agenda. The problem is that the DSA part got out in front of the progressive part and took all of the attention and lead.
And getting a lot of money.
And getting a lot of money. Where the progressive part of the party is saying, we were eventually going there, but you guys outpaced us. And now they're going to lose elections, and they should. I don't know. This is scary. This is really
weird
scary.
where the money is coming from, Perry. I looked at the New York race and how Mamdani got in. And obviously what's happening is that you have these super PACs that are getting involved. And it's that donation to the super PACs, and a big chunk of it came from a gal named Elizabeth Simon. Elizabeth Simon's dad was a hedge fund operator. He passed away and left her and her mom $32.5 billion. And now she is donating in a big way to the socialist cause. Does she have wealth guilt because she got all this money? She didn't ever work a day in her life for it. Now she is filthy rich. Is there such a thing as wealth guilt?
Well, psychologists will tell you there is, but here's the issue. If they're actually giving to these radical people, is it self-guilt or is it intentional? Because self-guilt, or wealth guilt, I should say, would make you want to give it to organizations that benefit humanity.
Amen. Yes.
But they're not. They're giving it to organizations that are destroying America.
Yeah.
So that's part of the equation. But I will say this. There's a portion of the faith community that's not engaged, but they're highly critical, and which is interesting to me. They're not engaged from the standpoint of taking a position on anything, because we're Christian and we shouldn't badmouth people. Instead of understanding that we're going after policy and we're going after what could be, radical change for America, they're criticizing people that talk about these things as being unchristian.
Right.
So if you read the book, Rules for Radicals, the #1 tool that the left has is chaos. They actually create chaos to create divide, to intimidate, shut up, and to disengage people out of disgust. And guess what? It's working.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's working,
Unfortunately.
So what do we have today? Oh, we have julienne fries.
Yeah, cut them thin.
Cut them thin.
Fry them up.
Fry them up. You like a dip?
Yeah, you know what I like. You know what I've been doing a lot lately is I still like ketchup, but they have jalapeno ketchup now.
Of course. See, you're not a middle. Sam, good luck, sweetheart. All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
We are moving! We are so excited to share that Habitat for Humanity Rogue Valley's administrative office and our restore will soon be moving down the road to our new location at 2655 South Pacific Highway.
This move is really about making sure we'll be able to continue serving families in Jackson County for years to come. Right now, we're building 16 homes in Jackson County, 12 right here in Medford, and finishing 4 in Ashland. Our mission is not changing. We're still building homes, building hope, and partnering with families right here in Jackson County.
The Restore is getting a new home, but we're still the same Restore you know and love. We'll still be accepting donations, offering great deals, and keeping usable items out of the landfill and raising funds to support Habitat's mission. We are so grateful for everyone who has supported Habitat and the Restore over the years. This move allows us to keep growing, keep serving, and keep building a stronger future.
Same mission,
same highway,
new home.
We can't wait to see you there.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back. Jerry's here.
Okay.
He's having a hard time accepting the fact that he's not a middle.
Hey, I'm trying to work this out, man.
No.
Yeah.
No, have you read the book?
I have not. You know
what? You and Pam ought to get it and read it, and then you'll understand your grandchildren a whole lot better.
You know what? We've seen a lot and we've heard a lot about this, and we've heard discussions, but we really see it play out in the grandkids.
Yeah,
it is true.
So all your 3 children's firstborn.
Yeah. They all are all, and all the babies.
All the babies. Where's the party?
Where is the party? We're the clown. They're funny.
Yeah.
They can really crack you up.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, when Kevin Lehman came here and went fishing, and we were on the boat fishing out on the Rogue River.
Yeah.
And him and Randy Carlson, we took him fishing.
Oh, all right.
We're out there fishing. And so finally, we're talking about stuff. And so Dr. Kevin Lehman says, Perry, let me guess where you are. And I said, okay, where do you think I am? How many kids in your family? I said 5. There's 5 of us siblings. Okay. He goes, let's see. Oh, you're definitely a firstborn.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
And I said, why? He said, well, you're a pilot, you're an entrepreneur, and he listened to all these things. He said, that's firstborn.
Yeah, okay.
I said, no, I'm number 3. Oh.
Wow.
So then he got to thinking, he said, what's the distance between your brother and between you and the next one down? Okay. And it's because it was over 2 years before my next brother.
All right. Oh, so it kind of changes the chemistry a little bit.
It changed the chemistry a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So.
All right.
But see, what's the difference between you and your older brother?
3.
3 years. So see, that's standard.
Okay, yeah.
That's standard.
Yeah.
Did you wear his clothes?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys get along?
Oh, yeah, sometimes.
You get along now?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
okay.
He's a great guy.
Sometimes?
No, he's a good guy.
Is he?
Yep.
Okay. Is he smarter than you?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay. Better looking than you?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. See? See? Just enough. Just enough right there. All right, let's check in with CBN News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected the 15-point Gaza peace plan intended to disarm Hamas and create conditions for a full Israeli withdrawal.
Israel rejects the 15-point plan. The IDF will not carry out any withdrawal until Hamas is disarmed. And when I say disarming Hamas, it means the heavy weapons, the less heavy weapons, and the light weapons, all the weapons. And we are talking about real disarmament, not a fictitious disarmament.
Netanyahu says Israel is talking with the U.S., but will continue to stand against the enemy.
The IDF will continue to thwart threats against our forces and citizens because, once again, the existence of Israel and the security of all Israeli citizens is not up for negotiation.
The White House is said not to be worried about Netanyahu's refusal. In an interview with Israel's Channel 12, Gaza Board of Peace representative Nikolai Mladenov says Hamas must fully disarm.
Nobody is required to do anything, last of all Israel, before we actually have verified steps on the ground.
According to Hamas, that's never going to happen. 10 days ago, Hamas representative in Iran, Khaled Kaddoumi, was asked on Iranian television if Hamas would disarm. In an interview translated and posted by Memory, he replied,
Never. Armed resistance is considered legitimate under international law because we are living under occupation.
Regarding Iran, Netanyahu said he appreciates President Trump, but indicated that Israel will take care of Iran's nuclear threat on its own if need be.
And I want to emphasize once again, with or without an agreement, as long as I'm Prime Minister, Iran will not possess nuclear weapons.
That comes as Iran's Supreme National Security Council and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are making new demands for reopening the Strait of Hormuz, including full compensation for war damages, lifting all sanctions, releasing frozen assets, and withdrawing U.S. forces from the region. They also say the U.S. must never threaten or insult Iran in any language, permanently end the war against Iran and Iran's allies in Lebanon, Gaza, Yemen, and Iraq, lift the naval blockade, and withdraw military forces from the surroundings of Iran. But President Trump is downplaying negotiations with Iran, telling Axios, "We are low-keying it as Iran faces 88% inflation." Also here in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan signed a defense deal on Friday, essentially agreeing to band together if one of them is attacked. Shortly thereafter, Pakistan's defense minister told a local news outlet that Israel is a threat to the entire Muslim world and called for a united military front against the Jewish state. Foundation for Defense of Democracy's analyst Jonathan Conricus says the alliance calls into question Turkey's loyalty to NATO and whether the U.S. should supply them with advanced American weaponry.
I think it's a worrying sign. 3 countries that allegedly are aligned with the U.S. but are breaking out and deciding to form a separate military strategic alliance. For me, it makes me question their loyalty towards the United States of America, and I wonder why Turkey, a significant and lauded NATO member, needs to be in yet another military alliance.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
President Trump pushed back on Iran's demand for compensation by citing attacks the terror state has carried out over 5 decades.
We're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period. Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people, and maybe damages for the 52,000 protesters over the last 4 months that were killed in Iran.
Iran also warned that the Strait of Hormuz would not be safe until the United States ends its naval blockade.
We have a blockade that's been infallible. It's a steel wall. And we let people in that we want to let in, and those people come in, and they've been coming in and they're going out. So it's actually open now. We do not let them go into Iran.
Meanwhile, the Washington Post is reporting the Secret Service created an elaborate deception to get President Trump safely out of Turkey after the NATO summit in June. Due to a credible assassination threat from Iran, the president switched planes, boarding Air Force One and then exiting through a catering truck before departing on a smaller U.S. Air Force aircraft. The U.S. is signaling that its military partnership with Israel is stronger than ever. Addressing a closed forum of senior Israeli officers, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper declared the United States and Israel achieved the unimaginable together, and we have a high and enduring commitment to you. IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir called the relationship unprecedented and a strategic anchor as he warned Israel must remain ready for a rapid return to high-intensity warfare. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Wow. A lot going on there. All right, let's check out the weather as we head down this Wednesday and see what's going on there.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville with highs from the upper 70s to near 81. McMinnville stays mostly sunny at 80. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny with highs from 80 to 82. Salem and Albany reach 81. Corvallis 80 and Eugene 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke in Prineville and Bend with highs of 85 and 83. Sun River stays sunny at 83. Boise is sunny, then patchy smoke with a high near 94 and a low near 63. Along the Oregon coast, gradual clearing in Goose Bay with a high near 68. Port Orford has decreasing clouds at 66. Brookings is sunny and windy at 66, while Crescent City is mostly sunny and breezy at 67. In southern Oregon, sunny skies cover Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with highs of 87, 90, and 86. Klamath Falls sees areas of smoke, then sunny conditions with a high near 87. In Northern California, Wairika stays sunny with a high near 91. Redding will be hot at 98, while Chico's mostly sunny at 95. Fort Bragg has patchy fog, then sunny skies with a high near 62. In the Bay Area, fog, then partly sunny conditions in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 79 and 76. San Francisco has a slight chance of drizzle, then partly sunny skies and a high near 71. San Jose sees patchy smoke, then mostly sunny conditions reaching 81. For Central California, mostly sunny in Sacramento with a high near 90, then partly sunny in Stockton, Modesto at 91. Fresno, Visalia see patchy smoke with a high near 98, while Bakersfield is hot at 100. And that's a look at your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Taking a look back, as it was a big day in the world of personal computing on this day in history.
On August 12, 1981, IBM unveiled its first personal computer at New York's Waldorf Astoria. It cost $1,565 and had just 16 kilobytes of memory, less than a tiny photo on your phone today. But it didn't even include a monitor, desk drives, or a printer. Add those on, and the basic system cost nearly $4,500. But here's the amazing part. IBM's PC helped launch an industry that eventually pushed IBM itself out of the personal computer business. To get the machine to market quickly, IBM used off-the-shelf parts and licensed its operating DOS system from a little company called Microsoft. And because IBM's design was relatively open, other companies soon began making IBM-compatible computers. Microsoft could sell its software to all of them, while IBM's hardware advantage quickly disappeared. In 2005, IBM sold its PC business to China's Lenovo for about $1.75 billion. So IBM didn't just help bring the PC to the masses, it helped create the business model that eventually made IBM a PC also ran, and Microsoft a software giant.
Imagine that. They made themselves obsolete.
Yeah.
How about that? Did you ever have an IBM?
Yes.
Did you?
I think, when it first came out, the portable IBM was in a big box, and you had to take it out. I mean, you could pick it up and move it, and they called that portable. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was floppy disk, too.
Right. Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so then here comes Microsoft, and things begin to change pretty rapidly.
Yeah, and I remember that term, IBM compatible.
Yeah.
IBM compatible.
IBM compatible.
Yeah.
And then you got all these other guys kind of sneaking up the middle,
Right.
Then here came Apple.
Yeah. Well.
All right. Well, listen, wildfires being what they are, and we have seen Samaritan's Purse respond to wildfire. When we had our Alameda fire here,
yeah,
Samaritan's Purse showed up to help people. Well, now they're on the scene with the wildfires in Colorado.
We could smell some smoke, which is, you're in the mountains, you smell smoke. And then the alarms started going off, pre-evacuation, and within minutes it was mandatory evacuation.
When the news said that a fire was up about 12 miles ahead of us, above us, and in 10 minutes it was on the street next to us.
My nephews, my friends come up here and started evacuating me right away. Hot ash was flying on us. It hit us so fast. I got pictures on my game camera that took pictures of our house burning up, pictures of the fire tornado that hit the front of the property.
I went out on the back deck and I decided that I was going to take a picture of the flames coming over the hill. I was numb. I mean, you just kind of go numb. You don't know what to think. Just saying, please, Lord, protect the house, protect the house. But kind of knew it wasn't going to be here.
Samaritan's Purse is on the ground in Pueblo, Colorado, where devastating wildfires have swept through the Aspen Acres and Beulah communities.
This is the 7th largest fire in Colorado history, and a lot of people have lost their homes, they've lost their outbuildings, they've lost houses that they've had for generations.
So Samaritan's Purse called and had said, hey, does 12:30 work? Can you meet us there? I let my wife know, and her immediate response was, wow, that's fast. The readiness and willingness of the volunteers that are with Samaritan's Purse, it is beyond expectation.
I was born in 1955 in Pueblo, Colorado. I signed up in the U.S. Military Army as a delayed entry program, and this was our retirement home. God has blessed us to have Samaritan's Purse here. I mean, you guys make it so easy for us, and we are grateful and thanking our dear Lord for this. I would say it's almost a miracle done by Him for having you guys here with me.
They're amazing. I mean, we called and the next morning we're getting a call back and saying, we just got here, how can we help?
Did you find something?
That was given to me by my grandmother when I was a little girl.
What are we going to do? And here come all these angels, and here come all these bulldozers and skidsters, and wow, there is no word that's ever been created to describe what this feels like. It's beyond the sorrow, beyond the pain, beyond the anguish. God bless him. God bless him, because there's just no words, you know. Thank you. How inadequate, you know. Thank you. I mean, it's just, I really wish I had a better word, you know. I see hope, and I absolutely feel hope is rising out of these ashes.
Wow. All right, we'll be right back.
Visit fishlikeresorts.net today to learn more and plan your visit.
There may have never been another time in history when end times prophecy has been more aligned with the culture and circumstances of the world than it is today. I believe there are 10 phenomena we are witnessing today that were recorded centuries ago in Bible prophecy.
Join Dr. David Jeremiah in his series, Where Do We Go From Here? On the next episode of Turning Point, right here on this station.
Weekends on the Dove TV. The financial world can be a complicated puzzle. Watching financial issues equips you to navigate it with financial wisdom and advice rooted in biblical truth.
Just be faithful in what God has called you to do. And He's called all of us to be good stewards, Mark.
Financial expert Mark Manila empowers believers to be faithful stewards while navigating the markets, politics, and economy with confidence.
When we see pricing drop, that's a good thing, I believe, across the board.
Providing you with responsible investment insight, market economic analysis, and stewardship guidance, helping believers align their finances with their faith.
Test all things. Embrace those that are good and abstain from those that are evil.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just beginning, gain wisdom, clarity, and confidence to honor God with every financial decision. Don't miss Financial Issues, weekdays at 5 on the Dove TV.
Okay, well, welcome back. One of those moments where Jerry wasn't paying attention because he was too busy being
Because I'm in the middle?
you're not in the middle.
That's why.
No. Anyway, good morning to you. We kind of overran there a little bit, but things are pretty hot and dry out there. A little cooler, but yet it's hot and dry, so be careful out there. Got some great guests coming up. Mark Meckler will be with us. It's always good to have him around, and we'll be talking about the growing power of federal government. Is the government just too big and too intrusive?
Yeah.
We always complain about it, but can anything be done about it?
I don't know. Look at the reaction during COVID.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man.
All right. Take with you today Romans chapter 8, verse 31. This is a good one for you. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, then who can be against us? Take that. Apply that to your thinking today. He's for you, not against you. The other guys are against you, but so what? God's for you.
Amen.
About to trust and obey.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Take the Dove wherever you go. Visit thedove.us today and download the Dove radio and TV app. It's an improved experience, designed with easy navigation to help you quickly find what you need. Visit thedove.us today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets the Vision TV show apart. The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference, blending heartfelt storytelling with practical insight, encouraging viewers to live life with clarity, compassion, and vision. Join Elvita King and friends for The Vision, Tuesdays right here on the Dove TV. Find answers to life's biggest questions with pastor and author Bayless Conley, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where Jerry Bilden comes to work and has a good time.
Yeah, well, why not?
You know, this is the upside of your day.
Well, that is true.
There you go.
You got that right.
He's a happy second-born.
Yeah. Yes, I am, and we'll get to what that's all about.
Yeah, he's trying to be somebody that he's really not. We'll explain that to you in a minute, but that's all right. I can get you counseling or pills. What would you rather have?
Anything on sale? There you go, man.
Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news today. There always is. The temperature-wise, we're at least in our backyard, we're going to back down a few more degrees, which we welcome that. We actually, looking long range, could see some rain next week, which would be nice if that occurs.
Yeah.
So there's moisture in the air. We'll talk about that.
We need it.
Anything special?
Well, to what you were referring to here, it is National Middle Child Day. It honors that in-between child in the family. And, of course, larger families celebrate more than one middle child, too. So that's why I'm trying to see if I qualify.
Nope.
I'm a second born out of 5.
Yep.
And, you know, that's close to the middle.
No. No, you're more 1 than you are 3.
And Pam is just saying amen, amen, amen.
And Pam's a 1?
Yeah, she is a 1.
So,
a true 1, too.
Okay, so there's respectful lines there?
Yeah, well, and it's an interesting mix sometimes, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, firstborn are born with a frown and a briefcase. You know.
Well,
okay. The babies are born. Where's the party?
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And I will say this though about Pam, though. You know, about the frown part. She's a smiler, and she's a very upbeat, very energetic young lady.
Yeah.
And but she is also a taskmaster, and she is true red in so many senses of what that means. And it's it's an interesting mix, but I thought I was middle. That's what I've been trying to say.
You got a little too much jalapeno in there to be a middle.
I like it. I like the jalapeno.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. Well, anyway, so middles are compliant. They're peacemakers.
Okay.
Because they have to get along.
They're
always too old and not old enough.
You know what? You know what I learned? I have an older brother who is typical, as a firstborn, and he was, he'd always kind of butt up against certain things that he felt strongly about, and I saw that cause some friction between him and my parents at times. Mm-hmm. And I looked at that and I thought, that is not worth it. it's easier to comply, or at least slide around the side where you're not seen.
Well, okay, I'm pulling up your profile here.
Oh, thanks so much. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Okay.
Why are we doing this?
There's no way you are a middle. No way. First of all, your energy's an 85.
Okay.
Okay, you are pegging red all the time, okay? You're very creative. You're not very logical, so that probably is what gets you into trouble.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have no patience.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can hear Pam yelling amen to this, okay? You're extremely social.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Okay, and you're not semi-detailed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever is important.
Yeah. There's no way you're a middle. No way.
Moving on.
Okay.
It is.
I'm looking at his profile.
I know you are, and I'm trying to move on. It is National Vinyl Record Day. Do you have any left?
Yes, we have cases of them in a storage that Christian vinyls, and we have we probably have some of the very early, like Amy Grant, Steve Green.
Do you have any of those Amy Grants that aren't scratched?
Oh, well, I don't have to go look because I know the guy didn't like them.
I know.
What was the other one? All those guys are back in there.
Yeah. Well, I bet you have a good library for an oldie show.
Oh, we do. We have a lot of the Southern Gospel ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, love the Gaithers.
When they had hair.
Well, that's all good stuff. And is the music, does it sound different on vinyl?
They do.
Yeah.
Is
it better or worse or what?
Well, that's a good question. They could have a little crackle to it. We got to be careful.
Okay. Well, and also you have the wear issue that comes with vinyl. Yeah, because then you hear those little ticks and stuff. But it has been said that a digital recording is maybe a little too crisp, a little too bright, a little bit too. Maybe a little too real. The vinyl is a little bit more soft, and I don't know. There is a difference in the sound.
Well, I remember when we have White Elephant gifts for Christmas. Yeah. I'd go in there and I'd pull one of those out. I remember giving the Tammy Faye vinyl records to some people.
Yeah. Okay.
Jimmy Swaggart's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You remember that we had the concert here. What's their name? The band, the brothers that they play the drums, and they had such a great concert here. And they have the little drummer boy album.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, we've had the Newsboys.
Yeah.
We've had Mercy Me. We've had the Imperials way back.
Oh my gosh, that is.
We
way
brought the
back.
Imperials in twice.
Oh,
and we did it one time
really?
out at the expo. It was freezing cold out there in the arena when it was cold.
Yes.
We brought the Imperials.
Hey,
that was when they started using smoke and everybody thought they had lost their salvation and the devil had taken over.
Because the smoke.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably true.
It's probably true.
Moving on. We only have one thing to eat. National Julienne Fries Day. Everyone fries up skinny sliced potatoes on this day. They are delicious and crunchy. Now, check this out. It says that once you've sliced your potatoes into matchsticks, which can be done with a tool, a julienne blade, let the potatoes rest in a bowl of ice water for about 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. After 10 minutes, pat the potatoes dry with paper towels, and of course, you want to get them real dry because you don't want the grease to splatter. And then when you add the potatoes to the hot grease, don't add too many at a time. They need room to fry on all sides, and this tip also prevents your oil from excess splatter and overflowing. And I didn't realize especially the 10 minutes in ice water. Mm-hmm. What's that all about?
I don't know.
I didn't
Harden them up.
Yeah, hey.
Was that before or after the
chill, baby, chill?
Before or after you boil?
You slice them and then you ice them. Slice them and ice them.
Okay.
So I don't know if
that's
it has
probably
to do
the
with
firm them up
starch
before you stick them in the oil.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But they look good. They taste good.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I've ever made them.
Okay.
All right. Do you like your French fries thin, like julienne style, or do you like them a little fatter, like Red Robin style?
Oh, like the wedges.
Or wedges, yeah, or like what they do at Chick-fil-A. They have the Those like waffle style.
Yeah,
almost.
they're all good. I don't know. I don't understand why there is a distinctive difference of all the fries that are out there compared to McDonald's.
Okay, that was my big question. Which fast food place has the best
McDonald's.
French fries? I think you're right.
Yeah.
And they have great coffee, too.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so much for all that. As we're going to take, let's see, you're a second. I think Alfred here, I can tell by his tone of voice, Alfred could be a middle.
Yeah.
Or he could be a baby.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
See, listen to his voice. He's
All right.
kind of a happy guy. Listen to this.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville with highs from the upper 70s to near 81. McMinnville stays mostly sunny at 80. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny with highs from 80 to 82. Salem and Albany reach 81. Corvallis 80 and Eugene 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke in Prineville and Bend with highs of 85 and 83. Sun River stays sunny at 83. Boise is sunny, then patchy smoke with a high near 94 and a low near 63. Along the Oregon coast, gradual clearing in Coos Bay with a high near 68. Port Orford has decreasing clouds at 66. Brookings is sunny and windy at 66, while Crescent City is mostly sunny and breezy at 67. In southern Oregon, sunny skies cover Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with highs of 87, 90, and 86. Klamath Falls sees areas of smoke, then sunny conditions with a high near 87. In Northern California, Wairika stays sunny with a high near 91. Redding will be hot at 98, while Chico's mostly sunny at 95. Fort Bragg has patchy fog, then sunny skies with a high near 62. In the Bay Area, fog, then partly sunny conditions in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 79 and 76. San Francisco has a slight chance of drizzle, then partly sunny skies and a high near 71. San Jose sees patchy smoke, then mostly sunny conditions reaching 81. For Central California, mostly sunny in Sacramento with a high near 90, then partly sunny in Stockton, Modesto at 91. Fresno, Visalia see patchy smoke with a high near 98, while Bakersfield is hot at 100. And that's a look at your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, there we go. That's southern Oregon. That's looking directly west. You can see the shadow there of Roxanne kind of out over the valley, so a little bit of a shot there. I don't know, do we have the other ones? I do know that we're kind of doing a little bit of an array here today because of the coverage area of the Dove. I think the next one is the morning commute across the Bay Bridge, which in itself, it's really down from where it was.
Right.
Okay, so it's thinned out a lot. A little fog in the Bay this morning. That's coming off the island. From Oakland to the island to San Francisco. What's the name of that island? I should know that.
Oh, is that no? It's
that's the one they had the World Fair on. Remember?
Oh no, I don't. Yeah.
This is Elk Grove.
Okay.
And that's south of Sacramento. To the west of there, to the right of that would have been like Stockton. To the north of that would have been Sacramento. Directly north of there, you would have seen like Davis, Vacaville, that area.
Some marine air there too. Huh?
Well, yeah, that is the Delta.
Yeah,
that's the Delta.
All right. Well, I really enjoy seeing the contrast between that commute, the daily commute on the Bay Bridge there, and then looking at the Rogue Valley, where I think of the non-commute that I have every morning, coming in on a country road, on Agate Road, and then over to Table Rock. It's a nice, easy drive. And one of the advantages of that is that you don't bump into people who are angry in the commute, because that happens. And with that thing in mind, that little anger thing, here is some encouragement with Pastor Jack Graham.
Don't repress it. That's just anger turned inside. Don't express it. Maybe you heard along the way some way, well, the best way to get rid of your anger is just let it go. I mean, just express it. There's not one shred of evidence to demonstrate that that's a good way to deal with anger. Go pound your fist into the wall or whatever. Don't repress it, don't express it, but confess it. God commands us not to be angry. And if God commands us not to do something, He enables us to keep that commandment. God would never ask you to do something that you couldn't do. So yes, you can confront your anger. Yes, you can confess it. Yes, you can, by God's grace, control it. Lest you hang on to your hate and you become caustic and bitter and an angry old person. You know, there's nothing more disturbing than to see a miserable, angry, older adult who just held on through the years to all the stuff, an unforgiving, unrelenting, judgmental, caustic attitude that makes everybody around them miserable.
Oh, yeah.
You ever been around those?
Oh, yes.
Gosh, root canals are fun.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories today. There's quite a few things going on here. Let's see if we can work it all in. The first one was apparently the U.S. Military helicopter did fire on the rudder of a Panamanian flagged ship there in the Straits to the point where it disabled the ship, and it looks like there were no casualties, and the crew boarded another civilian vessel. But that did escalate tensions there in Iran and during the Straits of Hormuz. Who knows? Wait 10 minutes, we'll get another story on that. In the meantime, there was a primary yesterday, and there's a lot going on, but this one's very interesting. Sitting U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, she is from Minnesota. She won the Democratic primary seat for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Now, if she goes on and wins the general, she's a sitting U.S. senator turned governor, which means her Senate seat isn't up until 31.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
If she becomes governor, then she will be in position to select her
own successor.
Her own successor in the U.S. Senate.
Okay.
Which is kind of an interesting twist. Now, that means I don't know who the Democrat's going to be in the middle of that the Republican.
And I guess it's a crowded field right
It's a crowded field. And Mike Lindell's in there from My Pillow. Apparently he's doing well, but is he strong enough to take her out? Now, her whole campaign, all of a sudden, she's against the fraud.
Oh, really? There's a Democratic against the fraud. Are they actually talking about the fraud? And
well, she says she is. She says, I'm against the fraud, and I'm going to do something about it, yada, yada,
Does
yada,
that mean any consequences for Tim Walz?
Well, Tim Walz is
He's in the middle of it, though, but he's in the middle of the fraud. So if you're going to clean up the fraud, do you have to actually say where it came from or who is actually responsible?
Yeah, I told you were in the middle.
Dang it.
All right, moving on. The next story is Senator Roger Marshall, he's a Republican from Kansas, is basically calling on the FBI to do a special counsel investigation against Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, the reason for this is because what came to light in the last couple of days is amazing. Apparently, he suppressed information that the vaccine was not good for pregnant women when in fact he actually said there was no danger in it. And this now we have people coming out that had miscarriages during this time, and they're very, very angry. Now think about this. If the FBI decides to do a special counsel investigation of Dr. Fauci, he can be subpoenaed again.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And he can be prosecuted. Now, this is going to be another legal twist to the whole thing. But in the meantime, there's comments here on about this whole case. And here's one as it relates to the COVID and the pregnancies.
The real only reason the vaccines were approved were that they could prevent serious illness and death in people at high risk for serious illness and death. And that was people over the age of 65, of course, which obviously weren't pregnant women. So I didn't recommend the vaccine for pregnant women. I think it was a mistake. I think WHO obviously showed skepticism about recommending it for pregnant women.
Well, apparently what has happened now is that he had he had a government-issued phone. Yeah. They subpoenaed the phone, they got the phone, and they get into the chip of the phone. They're looking at all these texts, and he's actually giving warnings and made comments as he texts to other scientists about the risk for pregnant women. And yet he's on the the night show saying there is no risk for pregnant women.
Right.
So, look, perjury all over the place, but I don't know, now that he's got this blanket immunity, I'm not sure if this can be challenged through a special counsel or not.
Well, we've seen excerpts from the diary, obviously, and they were very telling. How about the phone? Are we gonna get access to those texts and those messages as well?
Well, I would imagine in time they'll go public.
It's like the Freedom of Information Act allows that to open up. That's going to be interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when the president was in Turkey? Well, apparently something happened over there that was quite interesting. A couple of things happened. Apparently he was snuck out of one plane and taken to another.
Through a food truck.
A food truck.
Yeah.
And so here's former FBI Special Agent Richard Kolko was talking about this, and here's what he had to say about this little move.
This is, ongoing. The threats are growing, exponential, and people need to be aware that you can't make these. They can get you in a whole heck of a lot of trouble. But this one was definitely different. This is a war threat, a border nation, where the threat against Air Force One, against the president, and in fact against all the people on board that flight, may very well have been real and may very well have been possible. So thankfully, Secret Service was ready, willing, and I'm prepared to carry out this change of venue for the president, and everything worked out okay.
So they bring one of these food trucks up to the side of the plane that he was on. They scoot him into the food truck like a box of bananas, I guess, Oh, gosh. And they move him over to the other plane and sneak him on that plane, and they get him out of town, which is kind of an interesting move. Look, this president's had more threats than any president in the history of the United States.
Absolutely. Not only threats, but actual attempts. Yes.
So in the meantime, here's what the president had to say about this whole thing.
I think actually the plane that I flew on was at greater risk. I think it was at greater risk because that would be the plane I think that they would be more likely to go for. This one went over to England because the soldiers wanted to see it, and it stopped, and they showed it to the soldiers, and we did a switch over there, and it was really as per the military, and I just have to do what they say. They go for safety, and I have to do what they say.
Yeah, he has no option.
Yeah.
I remember 9/11 when President George W. Bush was trapped inside Air Force One, and he was frustrated beyond measure. They kept flying him around.
Right.
Then they took him to NORAD, where they have the underground thing.
Okay.
In fact, I have a picture in my office when I left his chairmanship.
Yes.
Of Air Force One landing there with him on board. And you can still see the heat of the engines. So they take him out and they stick him down in this bunker down there. And he's frustrated beyond measure because his wife and the vice president are stuck in the bunker at the White House, and he wanted to get back to Washington. In the meantime, the Pentagon was struck.
Right. Yeah.
And I think he just flat demanded, put me back in the air and take me back. And I don't know who has the final say on
Yeah.
it.
Isn't he the boss?
Well, see?
Yeah.
And so that's got to be a tug of war.
I would think so. Yeah.
All right, those are the top stories on this Wednesday morning as we go look for some julienne fries with jalapeno sauce.
Okay.
For a second board.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
In a time when our culture faces unprecedented challenges,
I want to talk about the role of a Christian even in a hostile culture.
Christian apologist and evangelist Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
People are hungry for truth, and we've got to rise to the challenge of our assignment as the church.
Know your faith better to be equipped to defend it in a world searching for answers.
But when you put the face of an earthly man on God, then you're never going to understand who God is.
God takes pleasure in you, and the very sight of you is joy and blessing.
Alex McFarland, inspiring believers through apologetics to boldly stand for truth in a critical time. Catch him Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us. Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on the Dove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. Where are we? Okay, gotta look at the timer. I'm so busy analyzing Jerry that
I know, it's a big job, man. And Pam's getting the biggest kick out of it.
Well, you know, I wrote a guy a note the other day that does these profiles for us.
Yeah.
And we've been using them for years.
Yeah.
Quite a deal. So I've become kind of good at it, but
I know
I'm not that good. I'm not totally trained in it.
All right.
But I want to be. I'd like to finish 2 more. It's 2 days. You have to go down and take a test, and you've got to do all this. And I may just do it, you know, but because I'm fascinated by it. But it's so accurate.
Yeah,
you know.
Seems to
and
be.
Here you are arguing with me that it's not, which proves the point that you're not a middle.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Pam. I'm trying to do everything I can.
Oh, she's loving it.
But you guys are just, okay.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at some of the local stories. One of them is that Oregon the other day joined 10 other states in suing the Trump administration. This is kind of an interesting thing. They filed a lawsuit yesterday against the Trump administration over a federal rule change that would allow banks to keep the interest earned on money homeowners put into an escrow for taxes and insurance. I thought, well, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so apparently the Oregon law requires banks to pay 2.61% interest on these funds. Okay, and the Trump administration said no, they can't do this. This doesn't sound good to me. So it looks like, just in the fundamentals of this and reading this, the president's on the wrong side, and I don't know what he's doing with this.
Why?
I have no idea what this means.
Yeah.
But anyway, it does mean it's the 74th lawsuit against the president.
And all the lawyers said amen.
Well, they're the only ones that go the bank off.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
All right, a little bit of a fire update. The big fire out northeast of Klamath Falls is 52,500 acres. It's only 5% contained. We have the Grasshopper Fire still burning there in northeastern Oregon, 78,000 acres, 20% contained. The Hagen Fire, 51,000 acres, 11% contained. 2.2 to 2.3 million acres continue to burn or have burned in the state of Oregon. The resources are spread thin, but they're doing their best they can to get a handle on it. The other problem is the fires up in the northern Spokane area, 122,000 acres, and they're only 5% contained, and a lot of structures have been lost in those fires. The only thing I can say is we're in extreme fire danger. And this is only the middle of August. Now we have to go through September. There is a little bit of good news here, folks.
What?
And I just want to remind ourselves of something that we reported on. And I went back and looked up the report the other day, and it hasn't changed. But there's a group of climatologists that have looked at the Pacific Northwest and said we've only had 3 major El Niños since 1980.
Okay.
And we are now positioned for number 4.
Okay.
And they expect the trends of this starting this month in August and going through the winter, which in an extreme El Nino does mean a lot of rain and a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Okay. We can only hope that that's true.
Right.
So that means that we could start to see the effects of this climate change, and I mean that in the true sense of the word.
Right, yeah.
Starting in August, because we do have some rain in the forecast for next week.
Yeah, I hope it comes through.
So,
even more so than they're predicting.
Let's take a look at Wall Street on this Wake Up. Here it is Wednesday morning. Thank you, Preston. He's the man. And I wonder what he is. I'm going to guess that Preston, since he owns his own business, he's a firstborn. All right, the Dow is down 22. The Nasdaq is up 177, and the S&P is right at 19. So kind of 1 foot on the brake, 2 on the gas this morning. In the meantime, gold's back up a little bit, 44.85. Silver's up about $1, $66 an ounce, and crude oil's down about 20 cents, $88.47 a barrel.
All right, well, we're watching the Civil War. It has broken out in the Democrat Party, and obviously we have these DSA candidates that are moving the party extremely left. Are they moving it so far left that they're taking themselves out of play, and will they be able to compete in coming elections? Well, guess who weighed in on this? Newt Gingrich. He joined Fox Business's Larry Kudlow, and he had this to say.
Well, no, I think they're doing us a great favor because they're coming out in the open. At one level, remember, they're becoming the amnesia party. They'd like you to forget whatever it is they said 2 days ago. And I think amnesia will be a big factor this fall. But they're setting up maybe the most decisive choice since William Jennings Bryan attacked McKinley. And Bryan, remember, stood for grass growing in the streets. He was against industrialization. He was against cities. And the country had a big decision. And at the end of the 1896 election, the country said, you know, we want modernity, we want prosperity, we want economic growth. They repudiated Bryan. And the fact is, we're in the same boat right now. If Trump and the Republicans run a team campaign and insist that the Democrats be a team, so that all the Democrats are basically trapped together. They all stand, whatever they say back home, they all stand for putting in power people who are destructive of virtually everything America believes in. And I think if that election can happen this fall, you're going to see a remarkable outcome. And you're going to see, I think, the Democratic Party deeply isolated from most Americans and maybe not capable of competing for power for a generation or more.
Wow.
A couple things here.
Yeah.
Remember, Newt Gingrich is a history professor.
Yeah.
So he knows history. He thinks that. Reminds me of the late Dr. Lamero that I used to interview, who was a model scientist. And what I mean by that, he would model. He studied models of trends.
Right.
Okay. And he didn't look at anything other than trends of attitudes from one election cycle to another. And he predicted that both parties would slowly self-destruct, which we're seeing because the #1 registration in America is still independence. You have the Republicans divided over MAGA versus, I guess you could call them rhinos or whatever, at least people who don't like MAGA because of Trump. Then on the Democratic side, you have this mess going on where you have the socialists versus the progressive. The problem with the Democratic side is two things. Number one, the DNC has no money. Right. Now, some of these radicals are getting money, but the DNC has no money to run campaigns. This is serious. In fact, they got a debt. I think it's like $15 or $16 million debt.
Exactly.
And so that's problematic. And the other thing is, unless the progressive publicly distance themselves from these radicals,
right,
then if they don't do that, then they're saying to people who are liberal, we're with them.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
We're with them so much that we're not willing to go publicly and oppose them.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the problem. But to Newt's point is the Democrats, the problem is some of these guys will win. That's a serious problem.
Right.
The other thing is that they don't have any money. I don't know how they're going to run a campaign.
Yeah, well, the other thing about that, I love what Newt said there. They're the amnesia party because they'd like you to forget some of the things that they've said in the past. Unfortunately for them, we have this, these social media platforms where they tend to vomit these things out in earlier years, and it always comes back to haunt them. But then they have to distance themselves from the things that they've said. So they have a little contradiction going on.
All right, the amnesia party.
Yeah, I like
You've never, according to your profile, you've never had an amnesia problem.
No, I remember everything.
No, so your problem is going to sleep. That's your problem, going to sleep. We'll be right back.
My God, and I
yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
We are moving. We are so excited to share that Habitat for Humanity Rogue Valley's administrative office and our Restore will soon be moving down the road to our new location at 2655 South Pacific Highway.
This move is really about making sure we'll be able to continue serving families in Jackson County for years to come. Right now, we're building 16 homes in Jackson County, 12 right here in Medford, and finishing 4 in Ashland. Our mission is not changing. We're still building homes, building hope, and partnering with families right here in Jackson County.
The Restore is getting a new home, but we're still the same Restore you know and love. We'll still be accepting donations, offering great deals, and keeping usable items out of the landfill and raising funds to support Habitat's mission. We are so grateful for everyone who has supported Habitat and the Restore over the years. This move allows us to keep growing, keep serving, and keep building a stronger future.
Same mission,
same highway,
new home.
We can't wait to see you there.
They travel across America to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
The Gospels are historically reliable.
Their mission: present truth, faith, and help people find purpose.
Not based on blind faith.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts for Christ.
They're either all wrong or one of them's right. I got to go to the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Don't miss Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. 26 minutes before the hour on a beautiful Wednesday morning. And as we check in with our good friend Chris Mitchell at CBN News and the latest of what's happening in the Straits of Hormuz.
President Donald Trump says the U.S. controls the Strait of Hormuz, but he doesn't trust Iran.
They've lied to me constantly. We have total control over the Hormuz Strait right now. They don't have control. We have total control. We own it.
The U.S. military confirms it fired on a Panamanian flag ship in the Gulf of Oman after the vessel ignored warnings and attempted to run the blockade of Iranian ports. The U.S. Central Command says a Navy helicopter fired Hellfire missiles into the engine room, disabling the ship. Meanwhile, Iranian-backed Houthis claim to have attacked a Saudi ship carrying military equipment near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And a separate Houthi ballistic missile attack on an Egyptian-owned vessel reportedly killed 10 on board. That comes as Pakistan is engaging diplomatically with Tehran. Pakistan's defense minister says the U.S. and Iran may be nearing an agreement. Asif said things are shaping up again in favor of a peace agreement or a deal. On Tuesday, the UN Security Council called a meeting on the West Bank. Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon defended Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria and rejected claims that they are obstacles to peace. Danon pointed out they are permanent homes, thriving neighborhoods where families live.
Judea and Samaria is where our story in the land of Israel began.
Danon refuted what's called widespread settler violence.
Those committing violence are a tiny fraction of the people living there.
The IDF, meanwhile, condemned what it called illegal and unacceptable Israeli activity involving Palestinian property near Nablus, where since Sunday, 2 Palestinian families have been prevented from entering or leaving their homes and have also had their electricity lines cut. And Israeli intelligence warned Washington of an Iranian assassination plot targeting President Trump's departure from a NATO summit in Turkey in July.
So I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane. I do what they say.
Trump was secretly transferred to a smaller military aircraft via an airport catering truck, while senior aides remained on Air Force One as a decoy.
And Chris joins us now with more from Jerusalem. So, Chris, is the Strait of Hormuz now the focal point of the conflict between the United States and Iran? And does the U.S. really have the upper hand here?
Well, Ephraim, first, yes, it is the focal point now, more than the nuclear material, at least for now. And then the question, who does have the upper hand? As we saw in our report, President Trump says we have total control, but in military control over the waterway, but that hasn't eliminated Iran's ability to attack ships using it. So there's a caveat. And even Trump says they can cause trouble. So you essentially, Ephraim, you have sort of a strange situation. The U.S. controls the strait, and Iran cannot close it militarily. And so Iran can say, OK, you can dominate it militarily, but we can still make commercial shipping dangerous, and dangerous enough so that companies don't want to sail through it. So both statements actually can be true at the same time. Economically, the blockade is preventing Iran from exporting oil. And President Trump, at least for now, he's allowing both sanctions and the naval blockade to put enormous economic pressure on Iran. However, for those in power, that may be they may be less responsive to even this economic pressure, given their fanatical and sometimes ideological beliefs.
Chris, Pakistan says an agreement between the United States and Iran may be close. Even if that happens, does Israel expect that it will have to go alone against Iran's nuclear program at some point?
Well, Ephraim, they're prepared for that. Netanyahu and really across Israel's political spectrum, they all say they're not going to let Iran get a nuclear weapon and reserve the right to act on their own. Right now, they're willing to let President Trump's economic pressure we just talked about work, and then we'll likely see, they'll likely respond if Iran does start to go to a nuclear weapon. Israel really doesn't want a deal that just freezes Iran's nuclear program, and they'll be watching Iran's enrichment facilities, I assume at Pickaxe Mountain. A lot of people have talked about that. And that stockpile of Iranian enriched uranium, maybe about several hundred pounds, be keeping an eye on that. And then there was something interesting that the Mossad director said just a day or two ago, that they have often been touring some of Iran's nuclear facilities. I think the one at Fordow, it's just one sign of the incredible infiltration of the Mossad into Iran's nuclear program.
What more have we learned about Iran's reported plot to assassinate President Donald Trump?
Well, apparently when he went on that to that NATO summit, they saw someone with a shoulder-fired missile. So they made the switch out of Air Force One to another smaller plane. They wanted to make no mistakes or take no risks for the president. They actually, when they actually flew, there was no flight data made available. Much of his staff and reporters on the plane didn't even know about the decoy. And then just a day or two ago, Ambassador Mike Huckabee, he says that it was Israeli intelligence that really tipped off the Secret Service about the assassination plot, but sort of a cloak and dagger story right there, just to protect the president. A reminder for many to keep praying for the protection of President Trump with all the death threats that he has received.
Okay, there's something else that's become pretty evident. The president had full intentions of being on board Air Force One, flying all over the country during this midterm. Hasn't happened.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to hold rallies all over the place.
Right.
And they decided not to put him in the public to do that.
I think
I mean, even indoor facilities, have you noticed? He hasn't done any. And it was his intention starting in March that he'd be out campaigning on behalf of these midterm candidates.
And he really likes to do that.
He loves to do that, yeah. So,
whoa.
All right, there you go. Let's check out the weather with let's see. I think Alfred somewhere down in the born ranks. He's either an only or a baby.
Oh, there, yeah. Okay.
Here he is.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, decreasing clouds for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville with highs from the upper 70s to near 81. McMinnville stays mostly sunny at 80. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny with highs from 80 to 82. Salem and Albany reach 81. Corvallis 80 and Eugene 82. Central Oregon sees patchy smoke in Prineville and Bend with highs of 85 and 83. Sun River stays sunny at 83. Boise is sunny, then patchy smoke with a high near 94 and a low near 63. Along the Oregon coast, gradual clearing in Goose Bay with a high near 68. Port Orford has decreasing clouds at 66. Brookings is sunny and windy at 66, while Crescent City is mostly sunny and breezy at 67. In southern Oregon, sunny skies cover Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with highs of 87, 90, and 86. Klamath Falls sees areas of smoke, then sunny conditions with a high near 87. In Northern California, Wairika stays sunny with a high near 91. Redding will be hot at 98, while Chico's mostly sunny at 95. Fort Bragg has patchy fog, then sunny skies with a high near 62. In the Bay Area, fog, then partly sunny conditions in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs of 79 and 76. San Francisco has a slight chance of drizzle, then partly sunny skies and a high near 71. San Jose sees patchy smoke, then mostly sunny conditions reaching 81. For Central California, mostly sunny in Sacramento with a high near 90, then partly sunny in Stockton, Modesto at 91. Fresno, Visalia see patchy smoke with a high near 98, while Bakersfield is hot at 100. And that's a look at your Wednesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Ah, yes, it was a big day in the world of personal computing on this day in history.
On August 12, 1981, IBM unveiled its first personal computer at New York's Waldorf Astoria. It cost $1,565 and had just 16 kilobytes of memory, less than a tiny photo on your phone today. But it didn't even include a monitor, desk drives, or a printer. Add those on, and the basic system cost nearly $4,500. But here's the amazing part. IBM's PC helped launch an industry that eventually pushed IBM itself out of the personal computer business. To get the machine to market quickly, IBM used off-the-shelf parts and licensed its operating DOS system from a little company called Microsoft. And because IBM's design was relatively open, other companies soon began making IBM-compatible computers. Microsoft could sell its software to all of them, while IBM's hardware advantage quickly disappeared. In 2005, IBM sold its PC business to China's Lenovo for about $1.75 billion. So IBM didn't just help bring the PC to the masses, it helped create the business model that eventually made IBM a PC also ran, and Microsoft a software giant.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, I remember those. But you've got to remember, they were also a floppy disk.
That's right. And, and you remember DOS?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
In fact, DOS wasn't around very long because they started replacing it. But boy, it was a lot of data. Supposedly, it was good and it did work. I remember our first traffic computer system. And it was, in fact, I think it was IBM, to come to think of it.
Okay.
But boy, look at it today.
Yeah. You know, my first learner book was DOS for Dummies.
DOS for Dummies.
You remember that?
DOS for Dummies. Yeah, well, I think we're all DOS for Dummies.
Yeah.
But,
well said.
So the guy that ended up on the top of that pack is Bill Gates of Microsoft.
How about that? Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, his counterpart, Steve Jobs over with Macintosh, Apple.
Yeah, went to Macintosh and Apple, and the rest is history.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. So, by the way, I was looking back at your profile.
Oh, no, don't do that.
No. There is actually a good part to this.
Oh, well, if there is, let's uncover that.
No. You would have been a part of, according to your profile, you would have been a part of the team that invented the next iPhone.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
You wouldn't have led the team.
Okay. What would I have done?
Well, you just would have pushed it.
Okay.
Because you had no patience. You'd want to get it done.
Well, yeah. Why not?
And the other thing is, you wouldn't understand what's going on because you didn't have any logic.
Just get it done. Come on.
Pam, you owe me a cherry pie. We'll be right back.
My strength, my song, this cornerstone, this solid ground, firm through the fiercest drought and storm.
Jerry's Historical Archives. U.S. History. Great moments in time. Record breakers. Our music through the years. Historic leaders. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Nostalgia.
It's a wonderful trip down memory lane with fun and interesting stories you might not know about. Relive the past and learn something new.
Open up Jerry's Historical Archives, weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove. The financial world can be a complicated puzzle. Watching financial issues equips you to navigate it with financial wisdom and advice rooted in biblical truth. Expert Mark Manila empowers believers to be faithful stewards while navigating the markets, politics, and economy with confidence. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just beginning, gain wisdom, clarity, and confidence to honor God with every financial decision. Weekdays at 5 on the Dove.
Okay, let's see, where are we here today? Oh, yes.
Mark.
Yeah, Mark Thielson there on Fox Business, Evening Edit, where he said that up to date now, the far left Dems have been speaking to their own base.
Oh, yeah.
So even though the left is complaining about the left, they're still buds.
Oh, absolutely.
They haven't.
Right. Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, she just got behind Abdel al-Sayed, even though opposing him in the primary. So they're just lining up.
There you go.
Oh.
Anyway, here's what he said.
I was in the Pentagon on 9/11 when the planes hit. I felt the building shake. I smelled the smoke. I lived through that attack. For Piker to say that Americans deserve 9/11, and then al-Sayed says, well, his comments were out of context. What context is there for the comment that Americans deserve 9/11? There's no context. Hassan Piker is the Nick Fuentes of the left. He's a rabid anti-Semite communist who thinks that Mao Zedong was a great leader and the collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest tragedy of the 20th century. And this guy's campaigning with him and hanging out with him at a pool party. It's not enough to just distance yourself or say that was out of context and you don't associate with that. You shouldn't be associating with him. If there was a Republican candidate campaigning with Nick Fuentes, hanging out by the pool and having drinks with Nick Fuentes, do you think that the Democrats wouldn't be all over that? It's ridiculous. Right now what you're seeing is that, I think Senator Fetterman put this best, all the left has been campaigning in a bubble, right? A left-wing bubble where they're talking to each other. They're trying to win their primaries. Now the Hong and al-Sayed have to now come out and talk to normal Americans. And they don't want to hear that 9/11 was our own fault. They don't want to hear that Michiganders don't want to hear that Mackinac Island is you hate Mackinac Island. They also, by the way, he said the other day that football is homophobic and racist. I'm sorry, is the University of Michigan fans gonna go for that in their senator? A senator who thinks that football is homophobic and racist? So they're gonna have to win over mainstream voters now, and it's gonna be a lot harder than they think.
Wow.
Well, okay, that all makes logic and sense, but it all comes down to people turn out. Do they see this as such a threat that they're going to vote to stop it?
Yeah,
or they just see it as nonsense and why bother?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, that's true.
So there is move now to keep Mayor Mondani away from the 9/11 Ground Zero recognition coming up. I don't know if they'll succeed at that. I mean, he is mayor, but
Right.
But will he be booed like he was at that police rally?
Great question, because we saw that play out. And who's in charge of that? I mean, who has the final say on who shows up, who gets to speak? He was at a funeral for a fallen service member.
Yep.
And he wanted to get up and speak, and they wouldn't let him. The family would not let him. So I wonder who's got the final say.
Well, I think there's a 9/11 New York Commission that kind of, maintains all of that in respect.
Okay.
And so, who knows how much power they have. But look, if he forces himself to the front line of something like that, he's going to get booed.
Yeah. Yes.
And you know what? That's what he wants.
Right.
He wants the attention because that somehow incites his base. And there are the crazies out there that want him, But I'm just wondering, we're so close to the midterm now that the Democratic Party probably will hang together even though they're complaining about each other.
Yeah, team voting.
But if by chance they lose miserably, then the progressives, which is just a nicer way of saying what it's really all about, they'll move to take control of the party again. Because they don't have any money.
So are you ever confused by that term progressive, what that means now? I mean, we used to say liberal.
It was liberal, yeah.
Right, but they didn't like that, so they moved over to this thing called progressive.
Yeah, well, they're good at changing words. And used to be, global warming. Now it's climate change.
Climate change, right. It didn't fit into the narrative there for some reason.
Yeah, so they're good at that, but... what I like about all of this is it's getting a lot of attention. What I don't like about all of this is it's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, good point.
It has two sides to it. It does generate their base to get active, and hopefully it does educate those of us who are sitting over here and saying, hey, this is serious. We need to get out and stop it.
Right. And how are the Democrats going to alter and fix this lack of money situation that they're in? Because the real money is going into the super PACs. The super PACs are going after the socialist candidates, and the Democrat Party they're broke.
Yeah, the DNC has no money. They got a debt. I don't know. The RNC is gaining money and has no debt. The DNC has a little money coming in and has a huge debt. So I don't know where all it's going to go.
And speaking of, changing the subject here. Did you see it? We're like on the 1-year anniversary of President Trump bringing in the National Guard into Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And the numbers are astounding. Homicides cut by like 45%.
Yeah.
And of course, keep in mind that Democrats were crying foul when he decided to do this. Yeah. When will they let him do this in places like Chicago and such?
Okay, so good question, because one of my guests coming up, Mark Meckler, he's president of the Convention of States. Have you noticed the liberals or progressives, the Democrats, the left, whatever title you want to give them, they've done one thing very, very well. They've taken everything normal and turned it on its head.
Upside down, yes.
And one of the things now that's very dangerous in this country is the balance between the federal government and the states.
Right.
Okay, and is that now on the chopping block?
Right.
Okay, so can the president send somebody into Chicago?
Right, and we saw this play out in California when the governor said that the National Guard was under California control.
Yeah.
And of course, we're quick to point out that it says National Guard, right?
Yeah.
And that is under the federal jurisdiction. So.
Okay, so I don't know. So I'll talk to Mark about this, but apparently the balance between the states and the federal government now is in question.
Okay.
Then you got to look at the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment gave the states the power to be individual.
Right.
So I don't know. You got to be a student of constitutional law. Yeah.
Bottom line, I am definitely middle. I am middle. I'm standing on it.
Hello, Kevin. Yeah. He won't yield. You have any pills? Okay. All right, take with you Romans 8:31. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who then can be against us? That's just sheer logic. God's for you. Hang in there. All right, there's a beautiful day. It's dry. Be careful.
Peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arm.
Your your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in, Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old-world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine.
You are not alone.
I felt he was with us in a way that I'd never felt before.
Others have been where you are.
And I came to understand then how important it was for me to complete what God had put me on this planet to do.
Be inspired by these stories and others like them.
Our God, at the immediate cry of our heart, will hear us.
Watch the 700 Club Wednesday morning at 11 on the Dove TV.
Take the Dove TV wherever you go worldwide. We're seen live 24/7 and streaming on demand on all major platforms, including Roku, Apple, Google, and Fire TV. Plus, you can catch the Dove TV and radio online at the new thedove.us and the Dove's new mobile app. Download today. Bring powerful, God-centered content and news with you wherever you go. From the Dove, encouraging and informative.
Welcome home to the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I've been looking forward, very timely, when we have time to sit down with our good friend, Mark Meckler. Mark is a fascinating guy. He's a public commentator. He's an attorney. He's a business executive. He's also president and co-founder of the Convention of States. This is the largest nationwide movement seeking to call the first ever Article 5 Convention of States. He does have a website, and that is conventionofstates.com. There's a little book that he makes available that talks about Article 5, and I'd be glad to send you a bunch of those. So if you're having a get-together and you want to learn more about that, get a hold of him there at conventionofstates.com, and he'll send you some. Brother Mark, it's always good to see you, buddy. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. A lot going on here. You know, this is so interesting. Did you ever think that we would see a struggle between the federal government and state government?
You know, it's funny. My answer would be, yeah, there's always been a struggle between the federal government and the state governments. And this goes back literally before the founding of the country, before the Constitution was drafted in 1787. It goes back to the Articles of Confederation, which were drafted during the Revolutionary War. This balance is not just a balance, it's a tension. The tension has always existed. It's intended within our system. And the question is, how's that tension pull at any given time?
Okay. Is there overriding power one over the other?
Well, certainly according to the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution, the federal government reigns supreme. But as our founders and our framers were so brilliant about balancing government against government, the states are the creators of the federal government, and they retain sovereign rights vis-a-vis the federal government as well. So it's a tension, it's a balance.
Where does presidential power play into this balance?
Well, presidential power is Article 1 power in the Constitution. It lays out the roles and the powers of the president. And the president has certain powers as the executive of the federal government. And some of those powers in the areas where the Constitution addresses these things directly made him supreme. So, for example, the president is absolutely supreme when it comes to matters of the border, matters of international trade, matters of international relations, all of those things, defense matters. Those are absolutely the president's prerogative, and the states cannot override the president in any way. Every power not specifically granted to the federal government by the Constitution is retained by the people and the states. And now this is where we get into the nuance and the legal decisions of the Supreme Court.
Is that the essence of the 10th Amendment?
Yes and no. And I hate to be so equivocating on that. Yes, that was intended to be the essence of the 10th Amendment. I believe that the federal courts, including the Supreme Court, have largely gutted the states of their 10th Amendment power. Sounds a little bit crazy, but the federal courts have largely held, including the Supreme Court, that the states don't have the power to sue under the 10th Amendment, that they lack something called standing, meaning they're not in the right place to sue. I think this is an absurd result. The 10th Amendment was intended, in my opinion, to give the states standing to sue the federal government for its overreach. And I think this is another place where Convention of States comes in. I would argue that the states should have automatic standing to sue under the 10th Amendment. That's a long way of saying that they've essentially been denuded of their power under the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment has been defanged, and we need to restore that.
And one other question that kind of comes up with all of this struggle, and that is, who has the final control of the National Guard in a state?
Yeah, the final control of the National Guard in a state is the President of the United States of America. And he can call in the Guard if he deems that there's an insurrection taking place, regardless of what the state wants him to do. There's a general practice and process not specified that generally says that governors call in help from the federal government via the National Guard, but ultimately the president retains that power.
Okay, so the Roe versus Wade, the Dobbs case that threw Roe versus Wade back to the states ended up being a big issue. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, isn't this kind of like the ultimate out for the Supreme Court? Just throw the issues back to the states. And we saw that with Roe versus Wade. What do you think of that?
Hey, look, so I love the decision in the sense that it overturned Roe versus Wade. And so as an absolute pro-lifer, I think that's phenomenal. I don't necessarily love the results we've seen. You now have the 10th state passing an absolute right to abortion up until the moment of birth. I think this is satanic and demonic and horrible. But you also have the largest number of states in the history of the country now, 10 states with an absolute prohibition, 13 with an absolute prohibition on abortion. There's another 4 states that have such severe restrictions, you could call them a prohibition on abortion. That's 17 states. And you could probably get up to 20 or 21 states that severely restrict abortion in one way or another. So I think that's good. I still think, in my opinion, though we couldn't pass it today, that we need an amendment that says that life begins at conception and there is no abortion in America.
Because we saw the governor the other day, now 10 states that can do an abortion up to the day of birth. If we don't define at the federal level life, then this is a bad trend.
It's a really bad trend, and I think that pro-lifers were ill prepared for the victory of Dobbs. And because we should have been prepared to understand that now this fight was going to move to the state level and we had to be prepared to fight it there. And our narrative has not been good, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is there are very few people, regular people in America, Democrat, progressive, doesn't really matter, who believe that you should terminate or have the right to terminate a pregnancy right before a baby's born. And if you sit down with any pro-choicer, I would call them pro-abortion advocates, if you sit down with those people and you ask them, well, let me show you a baby right before it's born, should you be able to abort? They'll say no. And you can push that further and further and further back. They will vary in how far back they say it goes, but virtually no one that I know or have ever spoken to believes in abortion right before birth, before natural childbirth. And so we just haven't been good at narrating that. And I think this is on pro-lifers to be ready to fight on the terms in which we find ourselves, not on the terms in which we wish ourselves.
All right, let me just stick there for a moment. Got other things I want to talk to you about. But when is the medical community going to be held accountable? How can a doctor kill a baby at birth? And the pill situation, when we went back to the States, there's no control over the pill. It can cross states now, and you can get the pill in the mail. At what point, or can we bring the medical community into accountability on this issue?
I think as long as abortion is legal, then we can't. And it depends on the state, of course. I mean, I think the medical community is held to account in states where, in the 10 states where abortion is absolutely illegal now, and probably 13 or 14 states where it's severely restricted. I think the medical community can and will be held accountable if they violate those laws. In the states where it's not where it's not prohibited legally, where it's medically permissible up until the moment of birth, when you're talking about a medically permissible procedure, and so there's really nothing that you can do to the doctors, I think, if you ask the question, when will they be held accountable? I think the answer is the Lord is very aware and will hold people accountable.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Thank you. I want to come back to the balance between state and federal government. At the end of the day, we have witnessed the control of both state and federal government to become by far more intrusive than its original intent. Is there hope here somewhere? Article 5?
Yeah, I think Article 5 is important in the balance between the feds and the states. I mean, this is the method that the framers gave us to gather in convention as states and to propose amendments to take power away from the federal government. Things like term limits and a balanced budget and doing away with agencies like the Department of Education or Energy or the EPA, things that should be at the state level. So we do have that power, but I think there's a secondary issue, which is now we divest that power from the federal government and it returns to the states. I live in Texas, and I can't tell you that the federal government, when it gives its power back to the states, isn't going to be exercised by the states in a way that's even likely to be similar or worse than what the federal government does. Texas is in our business, and I live in a red state, and I love my state. The state government's far too big and does far too much. But, and this is a major important caveat, it is easier for me to fight back against those things at a state level. And so that's something that Convention of States does state by state all around the country as well.
By the way, as an update, you're 20 and you need 34. Congratulations, you're on the move. How do the other 14 look?
Well, to give you overall stats, which I think paint an even clearer picture, 50 states have introduced the application for an Article 5 convention. In 38 states, we've now passed that application out of one committee or more. In 27 states, we've fully passed it in one house or more. It's got to pass in both states. And in 20 states, we've passed it completely. So you can see there is momentum. North Carolina has now passed the resolution through their House. It's pending in the Senate. I think Ohio, we have the support of leadership in both houses. I think we have the votes in both houses. So it's just a matter of getting that vote scheduled. So I would say we're pretty close to being on the cusp of 22.
That's amazing. Have you witnessed some of the arguments on like the House floor and the Senate floor of some of these states?
Oh, yeah. And pretty much every state, I'm either there to witness it in person. I certainly go to many of the committee hearings and testify in person. Because there's only one argument against this, Perry, and I do mean literally only one argument, and that is people fear what they call a runaway convention, the idea that the convention could gather and that they could propose things that you or I wouldn't like. And I've made this offer to literally millions of people. I may have made it on your show before. I'll make it here again, which is my personal email address is mmeckler, MMECKLER @cosaction.com. And if you're somebody that's worried about this idea of a runaway convention, I hear it from the left and the right. If you're worried about that, then just email me. Tell me what amendment you would be worried about, just in layperson's terms, and then the 38 states that would ratify it. And I've never had an email. in 12 years of doing this, not one email. Now I got to make an exception to that because right now I'm exchanging emails with some guy named Oliver who claims he can do this. And he's been working for weeks to try to do it. It's kind of funny. Today, this morning actually sent me an email and he's trying to do it on the abortion issue, saying he thinks maybe states would ensconce the legalization of abortion into our Constitution. But right now you have 13 states that have either an absolute or close to absolute prohibition on abortion. That's all you need to say no to any amendment. And you've got probably 20 states that are very restrictive on abortion. So you could just never get to 38 states. People say this about the Second Amendment. Oh, maybe the states will ratify the repeal of the Second Amendment. Right now, you have 29 states that have constitutional carry, meaning no permit. Go buy your pistol, strap it on your waist, and carry it wherever you want to carry it. There's just no way that we could get an amendment that you or I wouldn't like ratified by 38 states.
So, Mark, being the historian that you are as well, what is the backstory as to why the Fifth Amendment is there?
You mean what Fauci has been invoking 111 times? The reason for that actually is that we didn't want people to be tortured into confessions. So we didn't want people to have to say things against their own self-interest. And now it's gone obviously beyond torture, and people just don't have to testify in a way that would incriminate themselves. And I'm generally in favor of that. If you want to stay silent, and there are implications to staying silent, it seems like you're guilty if you stay silent. That's not a legal implication, but it certainly seems like you're guilty if you choose to stay silent. We've decided that people should have the right just to shut their mouths. We don't want to compel or enforce testimony where people are in legal jeopardy. That's the reason behind the Fifth Amendment.
Okay.
And the right against self-incrimination.
Okay, you got ahead of me, and I apologize. I really meant what's the story behind Article 5, but we went to the Fifth Amendment. We'll come back to Fifth Amendment. What's the real story? Why is Article 5 there?
Article 5 is there because the framers knew, they understood human nature, and they knew that the federal government would get out of control. And in convention, September 15, 1787, Colonel George Mason stood up and he addressed the men assembled there. And he said, we have a problem. This is 2 days before the end of convention, so it's almost done. The document's drafted. And he said, we got a problem. We gave the power to Congress to propose amendments, but we didn't give the same power to the people acting through the states. And he asked the question, whether we're so naive that we believe that a government that becomes a tyranny would ever propose amendments to restrain its own tyranny. Now, I mean, the answer to that's obviously not. Tyrannies don't restrain themselves. That's the nature of tyranny. And so we had to create a mechanism whereby the states could act as a counterbalance to a tyrannical federal government. I laugh when I talk about that because it's so ridiculous that a federal government that becomes a tyranny would restrain itself. I assume they laughed. Obviously, we don't have videotape. We do have Madison's notes. Madison's notes at that point say nin com, that's short in Latin for no comment, meaning no debate. Nobody disagreed with the colonel when he stood up and said this, and there was a vote. It was taken. This is the only thing I'm aware of that was not debated and unanimously inserted in the Constitution for us to have this right to exert ourselves. And this goes back to the beginning of our conversation about the balance between the feds and the state, for us to exert ourselves as states against the federal government and limit their power.
Beautiful. All right, let me take a quick break. Sorry about that little slip there, but you got it in. That's great. So go to conventionofstates.com. That's the website. And by the way, there's a little booklet there, and he has it all put together. This whole case is put together in a little booklet on the Article 5 convention, and he'll be glad to send those out to you. Just let him know. He'll get them in the mail to you. We'll be right back.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. Jerry's Historical Archives. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
Orthodox Christianity has existed for 2,000 years. Yet many people know very little about its history, its worship, or the ancient Christian faith it preserves. Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser. Join me each week as we explore the beauty and depth of this historic Christian tradition and its place in the modern world.
Don't miss The Ancient Church, conversations about Orthodox Christianity. Sundays at 6 p.m. on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. Mark Meckler's with us. Always an honor to have him. He's an attorney, business executive. He's also the president and the co-founder of Convention of States, which is the largest nationwide movement seeking to call the first ever Article 5 Convention of States. And it's all put together in a little booklet. 20 states are on board. More are coming on board. Just go to conventionofstates.com. You can learn more about it. And in particular, there's a little booklet. And we still have some here. I hand them out when people want them, but he'll send you a bunch. And so get a hold of them, conventionofstates.com. So, Mark, we got a little ahead of ourselves with the Fifth Amendment and 111 times with Dr. Fauci. All right, you're an attorney. Is there... He comes at it with a blanket immunity. He gives an opening statement, then he declares the Fifth. Do you see any legal loopholes in there?
Well, look, I know this probably won't be a popular opinion. I'm not hearing many people say it. I think he had the right to take the Fifth Amendment. I don't like it. It's frustrating to me. But here's why. Again, the Fifth Amendment is made to keep you from saying things that might incriminate yourself if you're in legal jeopardy.
Right.
So I think where the analysis goes wrong for most people is they say, well, he has this blanket pardon, so he's no longer in legal jeopardy. And that is true in regard to federal crimes. His pardon is in regard to federal crimes. The president does not have the right to pardon state level crimes. You have state attorneys general right now, including Attorney James Oltmeier of Florida, investigating Fauci and threatening to prosecute. In fact, Oltmeier has already issued subpoenas to Fauci. He's doing an investigation. He's looking at state criminal charges. So I think it's completely legitimate, though entirely frustrating, that Fauci is claiming the Fifth Amendment. Now, there's a caveat to this. You can only claim the Fifth Amendment as to questions that might cause you criminal liability. On the extreme end of this, you had testimony, you had questions in before that congressional committee where people were asking him things to make him look stupid, like what color is your tie? What color is the carpet in front of you? Mm-hmm. These were asked by Senator Josh Hawley. He has absolutely no right under the Fifth Amendment to not answer those questions. There's nothing incriminating potentially about the answers to those questions. And I think if you went through all 111, there's probably quite a few that he could be compelled to answer, and I'm hoping he will.
There's rumor now that or call for a special counsel through the FBI. And apparently special counsel rules are different. They can't subpoena him and they can't prosecute him. Is that true?
Yeah, look, I still think he has blanket immunity. It doesn't matter if you appoint a special counsel. Special counsels are investigatory and they can press charges, but they can't press charges in an area where somebody was pardoned. And I believe this presidential pardon was broad enough that it covers pretty much anything that he did under the last administration, under the Biden administration, or under the Trump administration, for that matter. Right. And so I just think it's kind of a fantasy of conservatives. And trust me, I fantasize the same thing. I understand that he's going to be or could be prosecuted under federal law. I think it would be a reach and an overreach. I do think he has legal jeopardy under state law.
Okay.
It's also important to remember he's almost 86 years old. The odds of him living long enough to actually be successfully prosecuted and imprisoned are pretty slim.
Okay, I want to swing over to the other phenomenon, and that is the growth of this radical socialist, Marxist, communist movement, and the Democratic Party is getting a lot of attention. We should take it seriously, but This is amazing that people like Mondani would even get elected and other people are on the ballot. What's your take on this?
Yeah, look, I'm not amazed and I'm not surprised. This is the end result of the Marxist, what they called the long march through the institutions, that term coined by Marxist many, many decades ago called Alexander Gramsci. He wrote this thesis when he was in prison. The only way to impose Marxism in a free society like the United States, you really would struggle to have class warfare. You would need to create all this critical theory stuff. You need the races fighting each other. You need the sexes fighting each other. You need conservatives, liberals fighting each other. You need religious and non-religious fighting each other. That's what they've been doing for decades. They've been propagandizing America. They took over colleges. They've now indoctrinated somewhere between 1.5 and 2 generations of young people to believe all of this stuff. They've erased our history. So I'm not surprised at all. I think this is the inevitable result of a long march through the institutions that has not been countered by conservatives and by people who believe in the uniqueness of the United States of America as a constitutional republic.
So it can't coexist. I guess what is interesting to me is that if you look at Mondani, just as an example, I mean, he tried to tax the rich, he got stopped. He's trying to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, he can't. So the current laws that we have in place really kind of restrict what they want to do. But their goal is to bypass that anyway. I mean, are you worried about it?
Yeah, I'm very worried about it. What you just described, and I think this is important for people to understand, and most people I don't think are paying attention to this. What you just described is a feature, not a bug, in their system. In other words, what they want to do is try to do the extreme things. They want to be thwarted by the system in doing the extreme things because then they have an excuse for what comes next. And what comes next is the revolution. Because the ultimate goal is not to work within the system and reform the system according to their values. The ultimate goal, and they say this openly, is to destroy the system, to tear it down, to turn it into rubble, and to try to build what they would describe as a utopia out of the rubble. So the way you do that is you show, look, we've tried everything legitimate within the system. It doesn't work. We can't do it. Now the revolution.
Do we understand that chaos is perhaps their biggest weapon?
Perry, it depends on what you mean when you say we. I certainly understand that. I think you understand that. I think most people misunderstand the nature of their mission.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. It is very difficult for us as conservatives and Christians to understand the desire to impose chaos on a society.
Right.
We believe in an ordered world, ordered according to God's laws, the laws of nature, which are God's laws. That's the way we view the world. And so the idea that anybody would want chaos to us is foreign. Now, this is, again, an important thing we should remember as Christians. The author of chaos is Satan. Right. Satan loves chaos, and Satan wants chaos. And these people who are acting in this manner, who desire chaos and desire to tear down the system, are agents of Satan, whether they know it or not.
Okay, so you set up the next question I was eventually getting to. Do we understand the spiritual war?
It is, at its very essence, a spiritual war. This is a denial of the existence of God, and frankly, specifically, the denial of the existence of our God, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and the Trinity. They can't stand for those things in their worldview, because in their worldview, man is supreme, man rules the state, man must be made to kneel before the state, the family must be destroyed, the church must be destroyed, and God must be destroyed. And we have to understand that's the fight we're in. This is a fight for the ages. This is not just a political fight.
Mark, you're inspiring. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, get a copy of his book or booklets. They'll send them out in little packages to you. So if you're having a little get-together, maybe your county party is getting together, get some of these, hand them out. Go to conventionofstates.com. There's a picture of the landing page, and he'll send them out to you. Good to see you, friend.
Thanks, Perry. God bless you. Keep up the great work.
You too, buddy. God bless you.
The Salvation Army fleet of vehicles is critical to providing essential services in our community, from picking up food for our food pantry to taking kids to camp and youth programming. We rely on Kelly's Automotive to keep us on the road so we can continue to provide the needs of our community 365 days a year. We can't do that without our fleet of vehicles in Kelly's Automotive.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV. The Dove TV is pleased to announce we're now seen in the San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose area via a new full-power TV station, KEDB, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over-the-air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for San Francisco, Oakland, and the San Jose area on new full-power KEDB TV.
Most people have no idea what their money is funding. That's why it's so important to know who you're investing in and what they stand for. At Financial Issues, we help Christians invest with biblical values. Our daily live broadcast covers the economy, markets, and even politics through a financial lens grounded in a biblical worldview. Watch Financial Issues daily at 5 p.m. Pacific Time right here on the Dove.
Well, welcome back. And a subject that pops up a lot is the word discipleship. And of course, even current research shows that young people are investigating faith, and they're coming in and checking out churches. Are we prepared to disciple them? Well, I'm really honored and very timely to have with us today Dr. Ron Hunter Jr. He's the CEO of D6 Family Ministry and Publishing. He is also teaching graduate courses in discipleship and leadership at the Dallas Baptist University. His work focuses on discipleship, family ministry, and equipping parents and churches to build faith in the next generation that lasts into adulthood. He's the author of a fascinating new book entitled Backward Discipleship. And there's a picture of the cover of that book on the screen, Backward Discipleship. He does have a website, d6family.com. And there is a picture of that landing page. Dr. Hunter, privileged to have you, sir. How are you?
It's good to be with you, Perry, truly, and love the subject that we're talking about.
Thank you for your time. What's D6?
D6 is short for Deuteronomy 6.
Oh, okay.
Our entire organization filters everything through how can the church and the home work together for what we call generational discipleship. Every generation matters, and we've got to cultivate it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Dr. Hunter, how are we doing, and I'm using that, the universal how of the church, how are we doing in discipleship?
Yeah, it's a little scary if we look at some of the studies out there, Barna in specific and several others, and we are not moving the needle in the right direction, to be very fair. And it's not without well intentions, but right now, the stats show that we are losing 2/3 of the kids who are coming up in our church. That means the children who are growing up, becoming teenagers and young adults, they are walking away from church and or their faith. 2/3. Now, let me translate that. That means that our churches are producing twice as many prodigals as they are disciples. And I think we've got to take a hard look at why that is happening.
Why are they turning away?
Well, they're being faced with questions they can't answer. This is where that prep to be critical thinkers, have an answer for an apologetic question, the tough questions that people get. I looked at in the book, I kind of summarized, because I didn't want to kind of make this heavy, but I summarized 43 different studies in a single paragraph per study and found there were 17 themes that rose to the top. And there were 5 of those characteristics that we asked. Of the 1/3 who stayed with their faith, what were the contributing factors? And there were 5 characteristics. Bible engagement, faith at home, mentors who matter, sharing one's faith, and volunteering in church. And if we can start leaning into that conversation, the narrative changes.
Wow. I've had Dr. Barner on the program a lot. He's quite a guy. His research is obviously well respected. And one of the things that we were able to trace back was that somewhere maybe in the late 60s, 70s, somewhere in there, the churches started to fade away from Sunday school. And with that, the teaching of the fundamentals of the faith stopped, and basic catechism of the church, or its doctrines or its theology, never was taught. Is that part of the problem? Is that part of the problem?
It is part of the problem, because it's not just Sunday school as a whole or small groups as a whole. The idea is, can we come together as a community? And in that community, we find a couple of those 5, what the book refers to as the faith forging 5 unnamed. When we're in Sunday school, we have Bible engagement. When we're in small groups, we have mentors who are shaping our thinking. And here's what's missed in the past, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We taught in those small groups the what of the Bible. We didn't always teach the why. And I believe we actually saw generations come up who couldn't answer the tougher questions. And when we can't defend it, we stop trying.
There's another phenomenon in this research, that these young people that are investigating faith, there's two things here that, from what I understand. One is they are waking up to the fact that the culture has lied to them and they're looking for truth. And secondly, they really have a heart to serve. I mean, they really want to be engaged in helping others. I mean, what an opportunity for the churches to glean on this.
It is, and that's why the Faith Forging 5 is volunteering at church. If we could give our teenagers and or children a chance to contribute back by volunteering, stepping up, assisting in a class or a small group, assisting in kids' worship, or any other of the many, many tech ministries or other places, it would change how they view church. They would belong to church, not just attend church. And they would begin to embrace the other areas like conversations at home and jumping into what the Word of God says when they're not at church. We've got to change the paradigm we've had in the past, which unfortunately is a compartmentalization of the church. We go to church, but when we walk away, we tend to leave all things church behind.
I love this statement out of your book. Quote, if youth are not being discipled intentionally, they are being discipled accidentally by culture. I wonder if we understand that.
Yeah, I think the world is catechizing our children, whether we realize it or not. They have a lot of screen time. I'm reminded every week by my phone how many hours a day I'm online with my phone or engaging my phone. And that's far more than we're engaging other conversations that build our critical thinking skills, build our biblical world value. One of the illustrations I used, every chapter begins with a different visual. One of the illustrations I use along the lines that you're talking about is, think of our kids as an empty suitcase. At the time they're born into our family, we start packing things into their life, values, the way they see things, certain scripture verses, how they view authority, how they view teachers, how they view rules and community. We've got to pack the right things in. Otherwise, just like on a real vacation or a missions trip or a business trip, we will get to a destination and find we don't have what we needed for what's immediately there. It's a Daniel purposed in his heart. Had Daniel wanted to prepare for the moment in Babylon, in the moment, he would have not been prepared. But his parents, unnamed parents, somewhere along the way, packed the right things in his suitcase for that moment.
Wow. It seems like Dr. Hunter, it might even be a little bit of a contrast where the culture is turning the young people off.
Right.
At the same time, it's shaping them. I wonder if we understand that chasm there.
I don't think we do. And here's what's happened for this chasm. And this is why the culture is so powerful. Parents have trusted the church to be the entire shaping force. And the church is the theological boundary. It is that launching pad. But Deuteronomy 6 tells us that real values are shaped in the rhythms and routines of everyday life. When we get up in the morning, our kids are watching how we react to stressful moments. When we send them off to school or take them to school, our kids are taking their cues from how we respond to issues. And so it's those rhythms and routines in the conversation, shoulder to shoulder in the car, around the dinner table, when we're tucking them in bed. We just need conversations that transcend lectures and reminders they didn't do their homework or didn't do their chores. We need to connect to that child's heart. One of the items that Ephesians talks dramatically about that, I often blame Paul, like, why'd you call us out? He said, dads, bring your kids up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. Why did he forget my wife in this? My kids' moms. You know why? They naturally nurture. Dads look at performance. And what we need to do is look at the inner character and that warmth that we can bring to that relationship. Yes. When we step in conversation, we change that narrative of the culture catechizing our kids or shaping our kids because we're leaning in and becoming that primary influence.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Where in the course of intentional, genuine, authentic discipleship do you introduce the transcendence of God?
Oh, early on. In fact, kids often view their idea of a heavenly father based upon the parental roles, even the earthly father. So how parents treat their kids, if we're concerned, again, more with rules, more with the legalistic approach, then our kids are going to grow up viewing God through a legalistic lens. We need to understand that Christ died for us, loves us unconditionally, and wants us to find his will, his perfect will, whether it's in business, law, broadcast, teaching, or in ministry. But we need to find Christ and know that he loves us unconditionally, and yet he has a higher standard for our life that we should aspire to.
Then where do you move from helping to have that transcendent relationship authentically to defending what they now believe, apologetics?
Correct. Well, first of all, kids are crying out for leadership, and it's called parenting. So we're not stepping in to be their friend. We've got to teach our kids how to think critically. So it starts with, I call it in the book, the tennis ball game. We toss our kids a question, and we teach them to toss a question back. I learned this as a parent a long time ago called high-low. What was the high part of your day, low part of your day? Mad, best, worst. But there's a better way to do it. It's called mad, glad, sad. If we ask our kids what made them mad, what made them sad, all of a sudden now we're prying into their emotional responses of the day. It typically becomes something they see as an injustice or unfair or things that upset them that causes them to lash out or respond either appropriately or inappropriately. By asking those questions, we get a chance to coach them in the moment, in the daily rhythms of the car rides and around the dinner table, so that we're helping them think critically. Okay, next time this happens, what should you do? Next time this happens, how should that person, should they have responded differently? We're helping them rather than just lecturing to them. I think the biggest missing component that I talk about in the book and in a lot of my speaking I do is conversation. Without a conversation, we don't have a connection. Without a connection, we don't have influence. Without influence, we're never going to change how our kids view the values of life.
So what is backward discipleship?
Backward discipleship starts with the end in mind. It asks, if our child, and you got to ask yourself, what's the age of your child now? If they're 5 or if they're 15, whatever. But it asks the question, if my child were 25 or 35 years old and they were bumping into a stressful situation or a pain point of life, what are they going to need to make the right decision? And we start having those conversations now. We start building those values in. We start connecting them with the mentors. We're connecting them with the small groups in church and the sermons and the influences that make a difference. So backward planning is kind of a military term. It starts with a mission, works all the way back, ever how long you have to prepare. But the truth is we all do it. You looked at your calendar before you got up this morning and dressed based on the appointments you had. If we're going on vacation, we start planning our reservations way before we arrive at the hotel or get to the plane ride. We don't expect a seat to be there for us if we haven't reserved it. Why can't we put that same intentional backward planning into our kids' lives, starting with the end in mind, and whatever time we have left, we lean into those moments?
Is it, from your understanding, I mean, I realize some of the research backs this up, that there is a genuine move of young people investigating faith, especially young men. Do you have any idea what is causing that?
Yeah, they are really searching for their independence. Think about it this way. When we think about this, Perry, our kids are on loan to us, and our goal is to help them grow up making wise spiritual decisions. So we shouldn't be making all their decisions for them in their 5th grade, 7th grade, 12th grade. We need to be giving a little bit more latitude so they have a chance to fail, find themselves, find how to make good decisions. And so we allow that latitude in coachable moments like I talked about with that tennis ball game. Sons and daughters both are actually going to want to find their adulthood and their identity. And we need to cultivate that, not coddle them. And so we want to launch them into the world with purpose. We want to launch them with Christ, and we want to launch them with biblical values. But it doesn't happen without that intentional, hey, let's have the conversation about this. Let's have a conversation about this. And we begin building in purity. We begin building in God's will. We begin building in the tough questions of why God allows certain things in the world.
This is beautiful. Let me take a break here. Where can they get your book?
You can get it at d6family.com or on Amazon or wherever you find your books. It's literally in the full distribution of your preferred choice.
Okay, it's called Backward Discipleship by Dr. Ron Hunter Jr. There's a picture of the cover of the book on the screen, and the website is d6family.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm Guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
There may have never been another time in history when end times prophecy has been more aligned with the culture and circumstances of the world than it is today. I believe there are 10 phenomena we are witnessing today that were recorded centuries ago in Bible prophecy.
Join Dr. David Jeremiah in his series, Where Do We Go From Here? On the next episode of Turning Point, right here on this station.
Weekends on the Dove TV. In a world desperately seeking truth, Cliff Connectley and his son Stuart travel across the U.S. to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
What is the evidence that Muhammad spoke the truth? What is the evidence that Jesus Christ spoke the truth?
Their mission is to ignite a passion for truth, guide individuals to embrace faith, and help people find purpose, engaging skeptics.
It kind of sounds like then that God punished us. The vast majority of chaos in nature is a direct result of God stepping back.
They're driven by a deep commitment for spreading the message of Christ to a world who needs it.
But you see, what Satan has done is he's put doubt in our mind.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts, sharing the love of Jesus with an unwavering dedication.
Because God loves you, and God has given you gifts.
Watch Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on the Dove TV.
Well, welcome back. What an honor to have with us today Dr. Ron Hunter Jr. He's the CEO of D6 Family Ministry and Publishing. And he's got a book out called Backward Discipleship. There's a picture of that cover on the screen. You can get that online, or you can check it out at his website, d6family.com. And there is the picture of that landing page as well. Dr. Hunter, you're fascinating. Hopefully we can have you back sometime.
It'd be an honor, Perry. Thank you for asking tough questions here.
From what I understand, these young men that are realizing the culture has kind of lied to them, and they're investigating faith, and I hope the American church is ready for this. I really do. I hope that we see this and we're prepared for it. But part of the issue here is whether or not these young men also are looking for true masculinity.
Right.
Where masculinity has been feminized in the culture. What's your take on that?
It's very true. One of the items, again, going back to the research, one of the items that stands out above all the rest is that warm, nurturing father we alluded to from Ephesians 6, and it shows up in several of the research projects. When there's not the presence of a father figure in a child's life, the incarceration rate goes up. The drift is enormous. So here's the challenge, Perry. Not every child in our church has, number one, a physically present dad, and not everyone has a spiritually present dad, even if they're showing up at church. So that's where I come back to the Faith Forging 5 we discussed earlier. We've got to have mentors. There's got to be men leaning into the lives of young teenage boys, younger boys along the way. They need to identify them in the hallways of the church and go, hey, you've got something coming up this week in school. How can I pray for you? They might say, hey, I've got an algebra test, or I'm trying out for this sports league, or whatever it is. When that older person connects around to them the following week and says, hey, how'd that algebra test go? That teenager goes, hey, that old guy remembered me. All of a sudden, now we got a connection going on. And now they're more likely to speak when they come back together. And you do that through a routine set of weeks. Now, all of a sudden, that older guy can speak into the younger guy's life and say some of the hard things about their masculinity or about the things they're facing. And that teenager's going to be more likely to listen because he knows that old guy cares about him and prays for him. Those are the conversations that have to change. And what's happening in our churches today are the silos. The old people stay with the old people. The teenagers stay with the teenagers. And I'm not saying they need to be totally integrated. I'm saying conversations need to be cross-pollinated in very intentional ways.
That's really great. So let's step that up a notch. Let's go to the next category up. Let's go up into maybe the late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
It seems to me this might be where apologetics comes in. This might be where defending the faith comes in. Could that be an effective fishnet to start the conversation?
Perry, I will tell you, if we're waiting to the late teens or early adulthood, we've waited too late. Apologetics are hitting our kids at late elementary and middle school levels. I've heard Sean McDowell and Josh McDowell say this in years past. When Josh first started, he was ministering to college students. Then he moved down to high school, and Sean says, hey, if we're not hitting them at middle school, we're blowing it. They have questions. They've got teachers who are challenging their faith based on science or revisionist history or wherever we want to go with this. Okay. And we've got to give them the confidence to step up and defend their faith apologetically at 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And people like, Mama Bear Apologetics, Christine Kane, and some of the others have taken that conversation down to kids, and we've needed that along the way. There's some great voices out there. We just got to start reading those books as moms and dads and mentors and bringing up these conversations when we're connected to the teens and the middle schoolers along the way.
What do you want the takeaway from backward discipleship to be?
Yeah, I want people to realize that we can reverse engineer. We can't control where our kids are going to go. But here's the big inspiration for the book originally. Our kids grew up. Our kids are adults now. They have kids of their own. I remember walking into our daughter's room after she left home, went off to college. And I remember seeing the medals in the room from her playing soccer. I remember seeing the trophies. I remember opening up the closet door and smelling the sweaty cleats in the corner. And I thought, man, I love sports and I'm glad we did sports, but did we put as much effort into her spiritual development as we did her soccer training? And I think if I were a parent listening, or I were a ministry leader in a church listening, I would ask the question, if a family brings their kids to the church in a young age, what can we tell that family they're going to do by the time they graduate? If I were a parent, I would ask myself, based on the number of years we have left with our kids, how many Saturdays, how many summers, how many car rides do I have a chance to lean in, connect with their heart, have some fun conversations? And Perry, I probably haven't said this. 80% of the conversations need to be lighthearted and non-serious so that we bump into those pain points, and 10 to 20% leans in with advice and mentorship. We have to earn that privilege.
How do we protect ourselves from being too theological?
Yeah, I think one, just stay lighthearted. Again, go back to what was the best part of your day? What was the worst part of your day? Chase that out. Ask the color commentary question. Hey, you played sports today. Who did you interact with? What happened on the sidelines? And just be inquisitive and get your kids talking. And it's tough if you've got an introverted quick kid who wants one-word answers. And you got to be able to lean in and say, hey, tell me more. How would you describe that differently? If we start early, Perry, we will start cultivating that culture of conversation in our families. Yeah. So you can blame this on the guy you saw on TV or radio or whatever and say, hey, he talked about the tennis ball game. I'd love to try it. Your kids are going to roll the eyes, but I tell you what, the second and third time you do it, they're going to go, hey, mom, dad cares about me. Or this mentor, he cares about me. She cares about me. I would say one more thing here. We need to understand the different phases of parenting. And you mentioned the older teens and the young adults. Think about parenting in the 4 C's as I described in the book: caregiver, cop, coach, and consultant. We're really good at the caregiver and the cop. The caregiver is when they're birth to age 2, we do everything for them. But from 2 to about 12, we move into that cop phase, which we teach our kids how to live in community, play well with others, use their inside voice, outside voice, those kinds of items. But when they move into the teenage years, they're spending more time away from mom and dad, away from home, because school days are longer, extracurricular activities are more plenteous. And so we don't have as much overlap with our teenagers. If we're not prepping them for the coach phase, when we have to stand, and the coach means we stand on the sideline, we watch them on the field, we kind of can see them from a distance, and we hope they remember what we rehearsed in practice. That's a different phase. And if we're leaning in at a cop mentality, we can become a little legalistic and hold them a little too tight, because again, we're trying to develop them into wise spiritual decision makers. And ultimately, when they hit 18, we have zero control. They will call us and go, hey, mom, dad, how do you buy insurance for your car? Or how do you thaw out chicken when you froze too much of it coming from the grocery store? Whatever the question is, we're the consultant. And we want that relationship, so they're reaching back asking.
Gosh, that's beautiful. Again, the book is entitled Backward Discipleship, online, or go to his website, d6family.com. Dr. Hunter, there's also a great need for adult discipleship. And maybe you can touch on it briefly. We've got a couple minutes left, but somewhere we have to move from evangelism to discipleship. But we got to coming to church, which is great because
I agree. In fact, I don't distinguish those two. I think evangelism and discipleship are the one and the same.
Okay.
When we read the Great Commission, the verbs there are reach and teach, not either or. And I know we're all tend to be good at one or the other, but we're not exempt from the other. And so we are called to reach and teach, meaning we're to grow and develop. And the way I describe it is that we're to learn, we're to lead, and we're to be led. So we're always in that, do I have a mentor? Who am I mentoring? And how am I following Jesus Christ?
Are adults open to discipleship, or are they come in with too many preconceived ideas?
And if we as adults are not having our cup filled, what's going to overflow into our kids is the emptiness we don't have to share. So we better be serious about our own discipleship. We need to be engaging in the Word of God. We will not have biblical values to share if we're not reading God's Word daily.
One last question, about a minute and a half here, but let me ask you this. What would you say to a church to re-examine its discipleship program? In other words, in business, we call it ROI.
That's right.
Is there an ROI to discipleship?
Here's what I do with the classes I teach. I actually have them go to their churches, pull their graduation records. Almost every church celebrates graduation and lists all their graduating seniors. I say pull the last decade and see if the stats of the ones who we see on social media or we know about in real life fit Barna's number of 64%. 2/3 are probably not in church. If that disturbs you, then it's time for us to pick up a book like Backward Discipleship and ask our staff and our key teachers and volunteers in the church to read one chapter a month. And let's get together and discuss it and ask, how can we start changing these stats? I put a picture of the Titanic up on the screen whenever I speak and say, how many of you would let your family go onto this ship? Nobody wants to get on that ship. But the Titanic lost 2/3 of its passengers and only 1/3 survived. That's exactly the stats of what's happening in our churches today with discipleship and losing our young people. Wow. It's time to change that. So I would say, let's read, let's discuss. If it's not Backward Discipleship, grab a book you do respect on discipleship, read it, and start changing the narrative.
The book is entitled Backward Discipleship. There's a picture of it on the screen. You can get it online, any of the places there, or your bookstore, or go to d6family.com. Dr. Hunter, you're fascinating. You're inspiring. Can we get you back?
Absolutely. Thanks, Barry. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Okay, likewise. Again, d6family.com, and the book is entitled Backward Discipleship. God bless you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Take care.